All right, Demetrius, you made it
Yes, sir.
in one piece.
Yeah, still here.
All right, dude. So I'm not gonna do like an intro on you. I'm gonna let you do it yourself. So
Okay.
why are you running? Who are you? Man, just run me through all of it.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll give a brief synopsis on my bio real quick. Born and raised in Marietta, Georgia. It's like 30 miles northwest of Atlanta. Attended Georgia Highlands College before I transferred to Southern Polytechnic State University. Graduated high school 2011 from Spurbury High School. Went to Southern Polytechnic State University, one of three schools in Georgia that's accredited for a bachelor's degree in architecture. 2015, we merged with Kennesaw State University. The Board of Regents forcibly merged us, which wasn't a bad thing because even though I prefer the small community life of Southern Poly, the resources and the funding from KSU definitely improved our architecture and engineering program. Been working professionally with various architects, engineers, contractors, building suppliers for 10 plus years. Interned at the High Museum of Art in Atlanta for a summer internship actually in 2014 too. And yeah, so as far as how I came here to good old Florida was actually a 3-month contract with the high voltage engineering consulting firm I used to work for based out of Kennesaw, Georgia. And what that was is pretty much we had more or less one client, which is Southern Power. And those that look at the utility bill know that everything pretty much goes through them. So Georgia Power, Alabama Power, Florida Power Light, TECO, things of that nature. And so with them being our client, FPL needed assistance with their SSUP project. That's the Storm Secure Underground project out in Callaway and Parker. And that was a 3-month contract. So myself and 7 other individuals consisting of CAD drafters like myself at the time, engineers, project managers, things of that nature. We were contracted to pretty much go door to door to homeowners, business owners, to obtain easements for where pad-mounted transformers would be placed in the future for the SSUP project. We also had junction box, JBAs, junction box agreements signed by anybody that would like to be a part of the project. And again, this SSUP project was a voluntary, I guess, partake for individuals and businesses to be a part of. If they didn't want to sign, that's fine. They can still have a service pole, and in the event of a hurricane, your pole electricity's down. So, but so we came down May 15th of 2023, and probably less than 4 or 5 days, I fell in love with Florida. Despite the slow drivers in Atlanta, which I can't tell you. When we see a Florida plate in Georgia, we're like, oh man, we're going to be all day in traffic. But after coming down here, I see why people drive slow. Versus Atlanta, it's a sprawling city, very Piedmont-like with curves and twists and hills all over the place. Here it's just flat and straight roads. So I see why my first few days and if anything, first 2 weeks, I caught myself speeding so much because you kind of, start zoning out some because it's just straight and flat. To the point where I'm like, okay, maybe I have to like really pay attention to my speedometer. Atlanta, you go 10 over the limit, on I-285, 75. If anything, you'll get pulled over for going the speed limit for impeding the flow of traffic. And so fell in love with it down here. Again, it was mid-May when I came down here for that contract. So a few weeks later, about 2 weeks later, the boys got out of school for summer break. So I brought the 4 boys and my wife down. I have a wife going on 10 years as of July 15th of this year. She's from Jamaica. She's a U.S. citizen now for several years. And I have a stepson. He's 16. Amazing kid. Really smart. He can cook too. I call him the refry king. And I have 3 boys with her, 8-year-old, 6-year-old, and 4-year-old just turned 4 on Monday, actually. Oh, busy. So beautiful, beautiful family. And when I brought them down, they fell in love with Florida just like I had. We fell in love with, 1, no state income tax. And then 2, we just fell in love with the culture, the saltiness and the more authentic part of life down here. The various types of waters, again, being from Atlanta, we don't really have that much water to access. We have artificial lakes like Lake Ackworth. We have Chattahoochee River, which is after it rains, like it's a hazard just, going there. So when we came down here, we saw the various types of water, the Gulf of America, and the bays and the different bayous and different springs and all. We just fell in love with just go fishing or go swimming or just go walking down the beach, whether it be the Gulf or the bay. So we moved down here. Prior to my contract ended, we were trying to figure out where we wanted to stay within the city. At the time, I'd already decided to stay at Sweet Bay. We were talking about earlier. It was okay there. It was, I don't know, not necessarily our cup of tea for the lifestyle. It kind of felt like we were still kind of in Atlanta. And so we looked in other places and came across St. Andrews, and we just fell in love with the downtown district and the corridor and all that, the accessibility, the walkability to either the bay, the downtown, the marina, things of that nature. And so that's where we currently reside. And hopefully we can purchase a home if this housing market improves. And towards the end of that contract, I started ride sharing, I believe it's August 25th of 2023. And that allowed me, that was probably the best thing I could have done when I first moved down here. I catch slack on it all the time on social media, like, oh, it's just an Uber driver, go back to Atlanta, things like that, which is funny because everybody has a job. At the end of the day, Uber's actually paid me more per hour than working as a professional project designer in an architecture and engineering firm. But I digress. Uber has actually allowed me to explore the city, the entire county. I think it provided over 3,400 rides within a year and 3 months of driving with Uber and Lyft. It's allowed me to connect with the people, hear concerns and opinions. People kind of treat my vehicle like a confession booth and kind of like an opinion box, more or less. So that's been an experience. I see a lot of the issues with the infrastructure, with all the miles that I put on my vehicle and whatnot. So I definitely, it's not like I'm some new guy who just moved here less than 2 years ago who knows nothing of it. Again, between my experience with driving with Uber and Lyft, exploring the city, hearing the concerns of the people, my education in architecture, my new education actually in urban planning. So that's another thing Uber's provided for me and my family is the opportunity for them to pay for all of my courses from Arizona State University online. So with that, I took advantage of that. And with all the college work that I've already completed, I went ahead and majored in urban planning with a minor in project management and a certificate in GIS, which is pretty much just geographic information science. So it's not like I'm just some random career politician or whatever. If anything, I didn't even want to be frank, I didn't even want to run right now. I wanted to go ahead and complete my education, continue to get some skin in the game. I'm about halfway through my ARE hours. That's my architecture registration exam hours to obtain my architecture license. So I really wanted to focus on that, but after getting encouraged and pushed really by neighbors, friends, family, coworkers, random strangers, Uber and Lyft riders, I said, you know what, this isn't going to be available for another 4 years. So there's nobody opposing our incumbent commissioner. So I'm going to go and throw my hat in the ring. So I did. And I think it's a great decision. It's definitely been an experience so far, especially with some of the dirty politics, but it is what it is. It's people. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. It's been an amazing campaign process so far. A lot of support from the community, a lot, an overwhelming amount actually, and I've enjoyed it so far. So hopefully come April 22nd and also early voting, which is April 14th through 18th. You know, the same people that encouraged me to go ahead and run, you know, show out. So.
All right, thanks for coming on. We're done.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Good seeing you. Thanks for the drink.
Yeah. No, so Ward 4 it means a little bit more to me than most people because that's where I grew up. I actually grew up. So if you know the Ward pretty well. I grew up one street over from Mound Avenue. Mound Avenue is it's tore up right now. Yeah. It looks really, really bad. So I grew up on Laurel Avenue, so I was exactly three blocks from the Toy Box, which was like a huge strip club that was here for like a really long time. There's a lot of drug activity in that area, and of course the Gold Nuggets right there. So it's like 2 strip clubs back to back, and so it was kind of a rough area when I was growing up. It's definitely not as rough as it is now. I think that they're trying to build up that area, and that area some hell.
Yeah. All of commercial corridor of 98, true.
Yeah. So, and of course, I think they're doing a good job, but I mean, it's not about that. But whenever we talk about Ward 4, man, I have a little bit of a soft spot because my parents still live there. And so, but what I was going to ask you is like, so you decided to run for Ward 4. What was like normally when you talk to somebody that runs for office, there's one particular issue or maybe even a couple that it's like, hey man, this has got to change.
Yeah.
What were those things?
So I just, one of the things that really drew my attention right away was just all the vacant lots, at least along Beck Avenue, on the west and east side of Beck Avenue, the lack of surface and just any available parking. For example, we talked earlier if I've met any of the incumbent commissioners or mayor. Of course, I'm heavily involved with the mayor. I support him fully. But as far as other commissioners, I finally had the opportunity to meet Commissioner of Ward 2, Janice Lucas, earlier today for the first time, at least a thorough conversation. And the one thing I've noticed the most with the area is just the lack of parking availability. When I had that meeting with her earlier today, I just drove around for like 5 or 6 minutes just trying to find a spot to park my car. And, eventually I just parked at the marina and just,
Yeah, because you said you went to Alice's.
Correct. We went to Alice's.
So, it's really, really funny. Interject.
No worries.
So we actually, both of us frequent St. Andrews a lot. We used to be down there a lot more than what we are now, but parking is a bad thing that's down there. And what's even funnier is like a lot of those parking lots that have empty spaces, you'll go to park in it and they got a sign there that's like, hey, no parking here. And it's like, dude, it's freaking 9:00 at night and your business isn't even open.
Exactly.
Why can't I park in your freaking parking lot?
Exactly. And we know which ones we're talking about. But it's like, and apparently from what I heard, there's actually an agreement in the past that they, I think, allowed some parking or partial parking. I guess there was some type of fallout or whatnot.
I park there anyway.
But yeah, and so now, Alice's is right there, and the surface parking right next door. It's like, it's just vacant.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, so do you have plans for parking?
I do. So as of now, based on the way let's be frank, based off the way the city finances are looking, it's not like we can build a multi-million-dollar parking deck anytime soon. So we're essentially going to have to keep relying on surface parking and street parking. But we're making progress in acquiring property for parking. I just, I question the methods and modes of which we acquired that property. For example, recent pushing issue, the Chestnut property that was just approved for purchase several weeks ago. It's purchased by, I believe, 2 individuals several years ago for upwards of upper $700,000.
$800,000, yeah.
Yeah, and now it's appraised for $800,000. So why are we paying $1.01 million for it in a declining economy? I feel like if it's anything, the city should be a little bit more competitive with, bringing that price down.
The appraisal was for how much?
The appraisal from last I saw was lower $800,000. And from what I've been informed, again, not perfect. And
I thought it was, so the sale price is 1.13.
Is it 1.13?
Oh, yeah. The sale price is $1,130,000.
Interesting.
And I thought it appraised for 1.011. I think it was 1,011,000. Well, Kendall, I sent that over to you last night. You can pull that up if you want.
Because it was several appraisals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think there's 3.
I think 3 or 4. And which appraisals were which again? Because again, I'm not perfect with all the information.
1.3 or 1.13. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's another thing is another question is, okay, whose appraisals are these? Are these the buyer's appraisals or are these the seller's appraisals?
Yeah.
Considering that the current sellers of the property haven't done anything with the property.
So there is a little bit of this is discussion, by the way. Like, we got all the time in the world. By the way, let me clarify this real quick. You didn't pay me to come on this thing, right?
What's that?
You didn't pay me to come on here, did you?
No.
Okay, and I didn't give you a script?
Correct.
Okay, cool. I'm just making sure. We've got, bro.
If I had a script, I would be talking like this, and I would be like a deer in headlights.
There's been a boomer group that they have a page. They're bless their hearts. They're trying. There's some sweet elderly women that are out there, but they have recently gone out and said that I'm a paid actor and like everybody who comes on my show is scripted and all this. So I was just clarified. But anyway,
well,
let's get back.
Well, for the record, false to anybody that's any this is as authentic as it gets. And honestly, this is what I was asking for. You know, we had the Bay County GOP debate. It was more like an in-person questionnaire, which I could have just submitted a document for. Exactly. And I still support the Bay GOP. But everybody said the same thing, which was this was not what we expected.
Yeah, no.
And I'm sure you see if you watch that, the difference in how I'm talking now versus then. This is true, authentic conversation.
By the way,
I'm not good formatting.
Shout out to Tho Bishop. All right, because
thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for the opportunity. It just you don't have to say anything.
For me,
he's gonna laugh at that.
But
he
for
knows
me,
how I feel about
it just wasn't the best format to extrapolate the most for
me.
No,
these forums where they only give you 2 minutes to. And look, dude, I've been there, so I know. Like, there's no way you can go over everything. No. Let's get back on this real quick because I want this discussion actually about Chestnut. So like, if this, okay, cool. Appraisal. All right. This was 2020, January 17th, 2025. Who's this done by? It's, what's the name of the company? It's at the top. Let's go back up to the company. It's at the top there. Walter L. Abbott, state certified. Oh, thank you. General real estate appraiser. So it's done by the Abbott, Walter L. Abbott, whoever that is. Great. And so the appraisal was for $1,130,000. I was right.
So this is one of the 3 or 4 out there?
I think this is the newest. This is the latest one. This is the one that I think Jonathan Hayes just presented to the commission not too long ago. Anyway, on the grand scheme of things, though, if the and this is just what can we when I want to know, do you know when they purchased the property? Like when the current owner, when they actually purchased it?
I don't know the exact date. From my understanding, it was somewhere between 5 and 7. I would average that as maybe 6 odd years ago, and they haven't done anything with the property. It's just been sitting.
Oh yeah. So on the grand scheme of things, though, so I purchased my home in 2021. I think it was January or February, and I purchased that thing for. He was like right at $309,000. The only reason why I got to be specific is because people are going to go on the property appraiser's website and they're going to check me.
Yeah.
I bought the house for 300. I think it was 310. 310 grand is what I purchased it for. I listed the property to be sold when I moved to Tampa for $468,000. That was only. Let's see here. About in 2021, I moved to Tampa in 2022. So in a year, it went up over $100,000. Now this is a commercial property that we're that they're buying. Do you think that it's safe to say with commercial real estate in downtown St. Andrews, they actually might have it right, or you think that it's not right?
Again, based off the information I was provided, and again based off of the 3 or 4 actual appraisals, then
you still think that it shouldn't go up by that much?
Exactly.
That's 8, 9, 10. I mean, you're talking about $300,000, but it's a commercial property.
True. Undeveloped and vacant though, and just kind of more or less eroding.
Yeah,
so,
but just because of it being in that district, in that downtown historical district, and then also, like I said, commercial property. It seems like it's to me. I'm not a real estate guy.
Me neither.
We need to get a real estate guy on here. And be like, that's a horrible deal. But it seems like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's a bad deal. But again, I'm not a real estate guy. And so, but what are they wanting to do with the property once they actually purchase it? Wasn't it parking that they were wanting to do there?
Correct. So from my understanding, they intend to purchase or already have purchased the property for the intent of constructing surface parking, more or less. And that's just to alleviate some of the other parking issues, and as we see in St. Andrews. I actually spoke with Janice Lucas earlier this afternoon, And I believe the city actually owns property closer towards up Back Avenue. I think close to Copper Tap Grill, I believe it's called.
Yeah, Copper Tap's right there.
Yeah, and so I understand that's a bit of a walking distance in case they were to intend to use that current property for surface parking. But I mean, again, how did I say it to Janice earlier? St. Andrews needs parking, regardless if it's surface or street, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And what precedent are we setting for acquiring other properties throughout the city? So, you know, we're always going to go with the highest appraisal, especially when it's an old diesel shop. I mean, just, again, I'm not a real estate person.
Yeah.
I'm not an economic or financial guru, but just from a common person, I just feel like we could have been a little bit more competitive with the price. In a declining economy.
Well, and that's the other thing, right? Like in real estate, there's no set in stone price. You can always negotiate. So I mean, if the person wants to sell it bad enough, you know, they'll come off of it. See, I had a hard time with that too, because even again, going back to like buying my house, you're able to see what the property sold for. And I'm like, man, dude, this house sold for $230 some odd thousand, and you've only been living in it for like 6 years, and you're gonna sell it to me for $310. How do you sleep at night, you freaking greedy?
Exactly. Like if there's some equity involved, like for example, the current owners who are selling it, you know, did something with it or tried to do something with it, I can kind of see that. But at the end of the day, we're gonna have to go through the expense of demolishing the structure, you know, before we even get to erecting the actual surface parking.
But the other side to that is, so this property was approved by the previous commission, right?
The purchase of the property?
Yeah.
It was just approved a few weeks ago by the incumbent commission board.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I thought that it had already been previously decided. That was when Bridnicki was in. And then Jonathan Hayes, right? He's a city manager. I think he could have purchased it at any time, but he kept bringing it back to the commission. Don't know why.
More than likely, multiple appraisals.
It might have been because of the multiple appraisals, but it just, you know, from the outside looking in, I mean, my whole thing about it is, and again, I don't live in Panama City, but I don't have a dog in the fight, but if we're talking about fiscal responsibility, my whole thing is like you said, Chestnut is kind of, if I remember correctly, Chestnut's like back up, not even really close to down to this property that we're talking about. It's really not.
Yeah, it's like a block or two from Beck Ave.
Yeah, but it's up further, so it's not like it's down where all the restaurants are and stuff like that. So it's like
you're still walking a little bit.
Find something down there. But as far as the purchase of the property goes, it does seem like it's a pretty decent deal. But so you think that property shouldn't be purchased at all, but have they done it yet?
No, see, I'm actually not opposed to the purchase of the property. I'm just opposed to the price. Yeah, and again, there's a parking issue, and the parking has to go somewhere. And so, obviously, no one wants to walk a quarter, half a mile to their destination. Otherwise, that detracts shoppers, and businesses suffer as a result. But again, it's how we acquire the property.
Yeah.
So that's my only, I guess.
You're probably right on that. But so, and that vote was one of those votes. It was 4-1.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and pay the price. Yep.
Yeah.
We're less than 3% of our general fund balance, and our city clerk and treasurer is constantly waving the red flag, but we're going to keep marching ahead. Okay.
Yeah. So cool. So you brought that up as one of the issues that's going on in Ward 4. Is there anything else?
I don't know if it's necessarily an issue. It's kind of like I guess a good issue where it's like, okay, like let's grow, let's see more developed. I wouldn't call it an issue. I would see it more of a vision. I would like to see more local small businesses along the north side of Beck Avenue, north of Shrimp Boat. There's a lot of vacant land up there.
I wish they would do something with Shrimp Boat.
Yeah.
Everything that has gone in there they had that pizza place that came in. Failed.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool because they had an arcade upstairs and everything like that. But how many properties do you think that there are that are vacant down in St. Andrews right now?
Quite a bit.
Really? It can be used for business?
Yeah. And my thing with Shrimp Boat is I don't know much about the history or whatnot. I know that there's the issue with the parking stalls on the south side of it, just in front of Uncle Ernie's, where you have the HVAC. I think there was a deal where they were supposed to give us some of their parking, and in exchange they can put their HVAC and like I believe 4 or 5, maybe 5 parking stalls there, and they have yet to, I guess, honor their agreement. This was mentioned, I think, in numerous meetings, but also in recent meetings since the new year. Yeah. And again, their HVAC is already installed and working for them, but we haven't got our end of the bargain yet. And
so what is the economic development plan for San Andrews right now that the current commission holds?
I'm not sure, to be frank. I haven't had a chance to review it yet.
Yeah, I didn't. When we had Josh on, I don't even think I asked him that either. I know we talked about a couple of things down in San Andrews, but
yeah,
it seems like San Andrews, man, dude, I'm telling you. So you've been coming down here to visit though for like a long time, since you're like a kid or whatever.
Yeah, my dad used to take us to Destin so much, Panama City Beach. Yeah, I came over to Panama City a few times, mainly Panama City Beach, with it being the tourist area.
San Andrews used to be rough.
That's what I keep hearing,
bro.
Biker bars, needles all over the road.
Yeah, I mean, so Tan Fanny's was like one of those places that just, I mean, it seems like once Tan Fanny's left, everything down in San Andrews just like flourished. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, the gentleman that is part owner in that Chestnut property, Sam Wolf, I just found this out. He actually was the one that had bought Tan Fanny's. And they demolished it and tore it down to the ground. And for some reason, it was like as soon as that happened, everything started. Well, dude, like what we have, you have San Andrews Bodega that's down there right now. You got Bergen Barrel, you got Slice House, you got the Dive, Uncle Ernie's. There's a lot of restaurants, but man, like what is something that you would want to see brought to San Andrews other than just freaking food and alcohol?
And I'm so glad you came back to that, because I was going to bring it up again. Is going back to Shrimp Boat. A lot of times people get annoyed with my references from Atlanta. They forget I've lived my entire life there, and I've been here. I've been in Panama City, Bay County, Florida since May 15th of 2023.
Oh, I will tell you this real quick before you get started. We have seen an influx of people that have come here that didn't grow up here that are in office now.
Oh yeah,
you look at Stuart Teddemer. You look at Daniel Raffield. He just won for county commission. It's the old way is gone. It's leaving. Like it's no longer about what family you were part of. It's not about how long you've lived here. Yeah. Right now, we're bringing in. But the thing about bringing in people from the outside like that is you start to get a mixture of ideas that we've never seen before. So it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and that's honestly the biggest reason why people were pushing me. They're like, based off of this either quick interaction or this 30-minute, hour and a half talk we just had to a complete stranger, they're like, you should probably run. Like your ideas sound sound, they sound knowledgeable, and they sound like they're coming from a good place. So consider it, and I did.
So I interrupted you. You were going into what you were going to bring other than restaurants and beer.
So again, my reference is to Atlanta because again, 30 odd years up there, my whole life. But there's a place in Atlanta, Midtown Atlanta, called Ponce de Leon City Market, and what it is it's an old industrial building.
Hey, can you bring that up real quick? I want to see a picture of it.
Oh yeah, it's like a French word, Ponce de
Leon.
Yeah, there we go, Ponce de Leon.
We actually have a Ponce de Leon not too far from here.
Do we really?
Yeah, it's called Ponce de Leon, but they're up there. You got Vortex Springs and everything like that. That's up off of Highway 79. You take that up to 20, and then you take 20 over, and then you come up and it's like a right turn, and it's up there. It's probably about a 45-minute to an hour drive from where we're at right now.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's all the.
Yeah, I took Spanish in high school, so my French words and names, I usually butcher them anyway.
We.
Yeah, there we go. But regarding what it is, it's pretty much an old industrial, I think, factory or whatnot. They pretty much have retrofitted as like a multifunctional space. You have markets in there, restaurants, businesses. Interesting enough, the gentleman, the amazing designer behind the Atlanta Beltline, his office is actually in that facility. And based off of my experiences,
Leon is Leon. Market, and you can put Atlanta.
Yeah, this looks like an image of it, but you can probably refine the search with putting Atlanta in there.
I'm a visual guy.
Yeah.
I was an infantry dude in the military, so I gotta see pictures.
Yeah.
Like,
So the outside is very much industrial, as you can see in some of them, but the inside has been nearly, in my opinion, kind of gutted.
is this it? Ponce City Market?
Yeah, there we go. And so what it is just a multifunctional commercial business type space, and it thrives and it's wonderful. Like,
You
just
think that would
walking
be
in
good
there.
for like the shrimp boat?
Oh, for sure, because the way the culture is changing. I mean, we're seeing malls decline and die across the whole entire country and
Yeah,
world.
man, they're a thing of the past.
But this market, it still grabs onto kind of like that mall vibe and community of walking and window shopping and whatnot. But it feels a little bit more authentic. Yeah.
No, man, that's a cool idea. So what all is in this place?
Different businesses, architectural firms, I think maybe law firms, just various businesses. It almost reminds me of WeWork, but less temporary.
Yeah.
WeWork, of course, is you can rent a desk, you can rent an office, a room, a floor,
Yeah.
the whole nine.
Yeah.
This is more. I don't know. It's a really well executed attempt at creating a multi-use space for various types of businesses, but also utilizing an existing structure. It's not like they built this for the sake of it being multi-purpose. They just figured, hey, let's try this idea.
Yeah.
I believe it's successful. And I believe that the robustness, the size, and the location of Shrimp Boat, I mean, that would be perfect. I mean,
Yeah, I like the fact that you're going there because you didn't just go to entertainment purposes. You went to actually helping out the community as far as career growth, job growth.
Exactly, and that's actually, not to cut you off, but that's actually one of the biggest things on my campaign key vision points, whatever you want to call it, is we need a more diverse economy and opportunity. Again, like, let's get away from, we have bars, we have restaurants. Okay, what else can we do? What can we do to keep the youth here? Because a lot of times, and I can attest as an Uber and Lyft driver from what I hear, and then also my 16-year-old, like, approaching graduation in high school and then also college, if they're not already in college here, a lot of kids they have no aim to stay in Panama City and Bay County. And that doesn't sound like an issue until you realize that's essentially brain draining. That's kind of what the U.S. does, which I'm not opposed to because it benefits us as a country. But it's almost like when we grab doctors from India or here, there, specialists here across the world, and we bring them here for the sake of strengthening our education, our economy, our dynamic. We have to be a little bit competitive when it comes to our county, our city. If we have nothing here to keep our youth here, then all that education investment and money, I mean, where did it go? Because now they're going to school in Atlanta or Tallahassee or Pensacola or Birmingham. And it's, then they're not coming back because they maybe fell in love with something there. And, who's going to replace the workers here? Who's going to, keep it going, more or less?
So you have the vision for actually expanding that growth as far as the economic diversity that you're talking about.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So what would be your plan to bring companies here to make sure that would happen?
I guess giving them the room to breathe. I mean, small business, the hardest type of business is the small business, the mom and pop shop. And I think making it a little more advantageous for them to just compete. I hear
it's like cutting red tape.
Yeah, really. And I'm full disclosure, I don't know a lot about the permitting process in Bay County, but I hear a lot of complaints about it.
It's pretty in depth.
Yeah. So I hear it's a pain in the butt, and regardless if there's too much pushback or else people just outright get discouraged. That's a limiting factor that could benefit us all, regardless if it's additional tax revenue for the city or it's a new outlet or a new educational career opportunity for anybody.
Do you know the tax incentives right now for businesses that are coming in?
Not directly. Okay. I know the city's discussing the transportation impact fee recently, which
waiving impact fees. Yeah, that's always been a thing, right? There's back when I was running for office, one of the things that I tried to hammer on as much as I could was partnering with different groups. I know one of the big groups that I really wanted to hit on. Now this is a county level, so the city is a little bit different, but not really because you can still partner with these. So like the Bay Defense Alliance, bringing more career opportunities here through like your cyber, and then also here through manufacturing. Do you know if there's any places in Panama City that are actually that you've had ideas for as far as manufacturing, maybe bringing manufacturing to Panama City?
Honestly, I don't. I would love to look into that, and
Yeah.
if there's land,
Nobody's come up with this idea yet, because right now that's where we suffer. Like we just and I'm not saying that when I say manufacturing, that doesn't mean like I'm talking like big, like
industrial smokestacks, and
no.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's talking about Train. How are we going to bring Train over in Lynn Haven, the air conditioning company?" Like people will be like, "Oh, he's talking about bringing Train to Panama City," and it's like, no. Like, I mean, there's other types of manufacturing. One of the biggest things, man, is we got 2 military installations that are here, and we send manufacturing out of the state all the time. We're losing money, and not only are we losing money, those are jobs that can be here for people that are here. I'm not going to sell you on that.
No. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I've actually attended 2 of the economic, I don't know the exact name of it, but the economic review development meetings or whatever. At,
EDC.
EDC's at Gulf Coast State College. Doc, the mayor, actually invited me twice as a guest. And both times, the things that I hear, not just coming to Panama City, but just Bay County in general, like there's so much economic opportunity and growth coming here between what they have over there at Boring Pipe over there on the PC side of the bridge. Yeah. And then the various installations with FSU partnering with the airport. I think they're having like, again, I'm not an engineer or anything like that, but like they're going to have like an engine testing facility up there and all sorts of things. So, we have to plan for that. We want it. We want the economic growth. We have to plan for that. And that doesn't mean just throw up apartments left and right and then put a burden on, already failing infrastructure in the city. But it just means, prepare for it and respond accordingly,
Yeah, absolutely. So cool. Yeah, man, it sounds like you got some newer ideas that nobody talks about.
Shrimp Boat's it could be a gem.
Yeah, well, and then there's other property that's down there too.
I mean, we have to accept society and reality for what it is. Is things are changing and evolving. I feel like a lot of times we hold on to sentiment, which is good, especially history. We have to hold on to history. But a lot of times we hold on to so much sentiment and value, forget like things are going to change regardless if we like it or not. Like, I don't like the way Coke tastes nowadays as I did as a kid. But, obviously the shareholders are like, well, maybe this is a more profitable ingredient or whatever. But when it comes to bringing up these new ideas, the dynamics are changing. We saw that during COVID with the work-life balance. Like, do I really need to be in the office? Like, I'm on a computer 24/7. Do I really need to be using your AC when I could just be at home doing the same thing? Yeah. Some things require that in-person collaboration.
Yeah, a lot of people thought the brick and mortar businesses were kind of going to go away, which they did for the longest time. We're starting to see it come back.
Well, they're still going to be necessary. It's the same debate when it comes to fossil fuels. It's like, you can never get rid of it. Or the entire world depends on it. If you just cut off fossil fuels, you're pretty much condemning people to death. And so, regardless if we need to be cleaner and more responsible how we deal with the planet, we still need it at the end of the day. We're like 9, 10, 11 billion people or whatever right now.
Oh, yeah.
So we need it. And it's the same when it comes to just the culture of things, regardless if that's work culture, school culture, like with online school, like I'm doing at the ASU, or just the environment, I mean, we look at things like, again, WeWork, it's very adaptable. We actually have a facility. When I first came down here to Panama City for that contract, we actually worked at, I forget the name of the building. It's in downtown. It's a blue building. I think it used to be an old shrimp type of facility. It's pretty much like a multi-function. It's like a WeWork, but it's not WeWork. That's, it's not a different company. I wish I remember the name. MySpace Downtown. I think that's what it's called.
MySpace, yeah.
So when we were contracted with FPL, that's where we operated out of. We didn't have, some office or some dorm or hotel room. We went there. And I feel like things of that nature, like that's really beneficial, regardless if we're, using our own workers here or contracting people out of the area. We need facilities and spaces like that can generate revenue. Yeah. And I enjoyed my experience there. If we could just rent a desk like we did, and sometimes we needed a conference room or a meeting room. You can rent that for an hour, a day, or whatever. It's a great idea.
Yeah, it was a good idea. So circling back around, Okay, so yeah, you definitely got ideas for downtown St.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Andrews.
yeah.
That's in your ward. What issues in your ward are you wanting to tackle, other than the ones that we've obviously infrastructure is a big deal right now. My dad, I gave Josh an earful when he came on the podcast because I was like, my dad was like, "Oh, you're having a commissioner on from my ward? Ask him when all these freaking these projects are going to finish up because the road's torn up everywhere."
Yeah, it is.
Do you, and I don't really know much about how the city commission works on, road work and stuff like that. I mean, do they have a huge say in how that road work is like presented and the order in which it's done?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Again, if I wasn't coming, I would definitely have it.
I was hoping you were gonna be like, yeah, man, they could have it. They could do those things because it seems like they just start projects all over the place.
I can only speak on behalf of what has been presented to me.
Yeah.
So regarding to answer your first question, as far as issues to tackle, there's plenty. I get calls and texts and emails and Facebook Messenger chats all the time since I've been running, and one of which Andrews Place Apartments. I can't tell you how many times I keep getting complaints about Andrews Place Apartments, mainly the trash issue with people putting the trash on the back of the car, taking it to the dumpster, and forgetting it's there, and then they turn on to Frankfort, and now there's trash up and down north and south of Frankfort. But regarding projects and like how they like pretty much just keep starting and stopping just all over the place, it could definitely be more efficient. And I don't know how to say, just implement it a little bit better.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So road construction, obviously that's going to be important to you.
Oh yeah. And honestly, I've been approached by numerous individuals and individuals with credentials, and not just the roads in St. Andrews, but the entire city. I have yet to meet with this person. Supposed to meet with them Tuesday or Wednesday this week. I hope to meet with them soon. But they were up there in the city hierarchy, and they were wrongfully terminated, which I'll get into my case here in a little bit. But they were wrongfully terminated because they more or less blowing the whistle saying, hey, why are we just doing little Band-Aid fixes here when, like, this is how you fix this. It doesn't cost that much, and it takes this long. And more or less, they would, like, look at him like that mom and dad look at a kid like that, and it was like, shut up, and, like, give him busy work to kind of, like, preoccupy him. And so it's like, I can't wait to meet with him. I went ahead and informed Ed and Doc, and I think Ed's going to accompany me to that meeting. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's just horrible because if things can be fixed quickly, efficiently, and cost effectively, then let's do it. Like, let's stop kicking the can down the road and let's just tackle the issue.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, to segue into the wrongful termination, I'm not sure if the public's aware, but I feel like this is a great platform to go ahead and say it. I've already mentioned it.
Send it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, send it. I love that saying. January 24th. So, again, full disclosure, I worked at an architecture and engineering firm as of September 25th of 2023. Again, the year I moved down here. CPH over there on 23rd Street, and it's a full architecture and engineering firm, landscape, you name it. And they were supporting me for the most part. My immediate supervisor knew that I had got encouraged to run, knew that I had an interest to run, knew that I filed, went through the whole process. This is Q3, Q4 of last year, and where he encouraged me, and I'm like, well, what about conflict of interest? Do we do any city work? I'm asking questions because I'm naive like a baby. I don't know much about the political process, municipalities, things of that nature.
You're doing your due diligence.
Exactly. And ironically, before I get to it, I only found out about how municipalities and commission boards work through my immediate supervisor, because we actually had an issue with them with 390, the northwest corner of 390 intersecting 23rd Street. We had designed a Murphy USA that's going to go there. And apparently the incumbent commissioner for Ward 4 had an issue with the gas station going there, despite it already being permanent approved process, designed the whole nine. And apparently, of course, there's North Star Church right there, which he's the minister of finance for that church, had planned for, I guess, future development towards that northwest corner near that intersection of 390 and 23rd Street. And so there's pushback. I think the commission board and maybe the planning board, I'm not sure exactly, so don't quote me on it, went ahead and said, regardless, we've already permanent and approved everything for the Murphy USA there. So they pushed forward with the Murphy USA. That's the first I even heard of the incumbent commissioner. So that kind of already gave me an idea kind of what I was getting to and what's going on. The same individual, my immediate supervisor, also is the one that said, when I asked the question, so what do I do? Do we do any city work? Yeah, we do city work at the time. I'm like, okay, I figured because, I designed the project over there in Port St. Joe, the William J. Risch Park. I designed that I was the project designer for that project. And I've done numerous ones. The Murphy USA over here on Thomas Drive, I designed that one. Chick-fil-A's, all sorts of stuff I've worked on. And I said, so if we do any city work, like how does that go into play? Because if elected, I would have to make a decision for or against that, right? Well, you can just recuse your vote. That's what I was told. You can just recuse your vote. Oh, okay, so that just means I just don't vote? Yeah, that's right. You just don't vote. If there's a conflict of interest, you just don't vote. Okay, So fast forward to January 24th at 2 p.m., I was called into my supervisor, actually my former supervisor's office. Apparently, the immediate supervisor that I work for, the current CFO of the company, CPH, they never informed me at what point between Q3 of Q4 of last year. But my coworker, then immediate supervisor upon termination, at some point became my immediate supervisor without anybody telling me. Regardless, I adhered to the company policy and continued talking directly to my immediate supervisor about my interest in running, things of that nature, the fact that I filed candidate petition forms, the whole nine. And so despite that, they called me on January 24th around 2 p.m. when I got back from a lunch break after I picked up, I believe, the kids from school around that time. And they said, hey, send me a message. Hey, we need to see your officer quick. I'm thinking, cool, getting ready to kick off a new project or whatnot. I'm going in the office happy or whatever with a notepad, getting ready to take down notes or whatever. Hey, we're going to there's a laptop to his desk. There's a HR rep on the screen. And said, hey, I just want to call you in here. We're going to let you go. And I'm like, completely sidebar. Yeah, completely sidebar.
How long have you been there?
Since September 25th of 2023. So
over a year.
Yeah.
This happened this past January?
Yeah.
You're just coming from lunch break and they're like, hey,
yeah,
you're gone.
Yeah,
so no write-ups, no complaints.
No corrective action, no, hey, did you look at the company policy? I'm gonna get to all those little nitty gritties. Oh, no, you're good.
I'm like,
no, you're good.
Dude, what?
It's what do the kids say nowadays? Oh, it's juicy. Like it's just like, man, like y'all really had a knee-jerk reaction. But so you say, I got HR representative right here. Sorry to say, but we're gonna have to let you go. Completely sideballed. I'm over there saying, I'm just confused, but I'm going to take an assumption it's because I'm running for city commission. Yeah. It's
what?
It's I said it's.
They flat out said that was the reason.
No, yeah.
You see the shit out of them. Oh, sorry, bro. I'm getting ahead of the story. I just like what? Sorry.
No.
Bro, dude, I'm a very animated.
No.
Like,
You're good.
Very like.
Hey, it's conversation, and no worries.
Jesus, man,
and so I'm like, I say it's because I'm running for city commission. Yeah, it's and I say, what, conflict of interest?
They were just like,
I say, what, conflict of interest? They said, yeah, because of conflict of interest. I said, I've made you guys.
I'm not elected yet.
Exactly. One, I'm not elected yet.
Yeah.
Two, I've already informed y'all about my interest, the fact that I filed, the fact that I was running, already got the candidate petition forms, the whole nine. Well, just we just found out. I'm like, if you just found out, that's on you. I'm pretty sure I've let you know. My immediate supervisor, of which you haven't told me that he's now my immediate supervisor, I've been talking with him numerous times about this. He's the one who told me about that I could recuse my vote to avoid any conflict of interest. He's the one who informed me about the issue with our Murphy USA project with the current commissioner, Ward 4, over there at the intersection of 390 and 23rd Street. Yeah, well, yeah, we just can't allow it. Our policy, that's policy. And that's another thing. The HR lady kept saying policy. It's funny because And I'm sure they don't know this because clearly they wouldn't have wrongfully terminated me if they did. But they hired me as an hourly, hourly exempt employee? Or was it hourly? I think hourly non-exempt employee. And there's only 5 brief paragraphs in the employee handbook agreement. And the first one's just a brief introduction. It says we prefer, which is a guideline, not a requirement. We prefer you don't have a second job. Well, you guys knew I rideshare a month before I even started here. They have no issue with me rideshare. So y'all okay with me having 2 jobs? Second, third, fourth paragraph, the first opening statements says salaried exempt. And then the last paragraph, of course, is just a conclusion, which briefly summarizes those 4 previous paragraphs. Funny. So the only part underneath the section in the employee handbook agreement refers to conflict of interest, refers to only salaried exempt employees. What section does it refer to hourly non-exempt employees? Because my offer letter says hourly non-exempt. So at what point does conflict of interest apply to me? So there's one. I didn't tell them that during the meeting because, again, emotional, confused, sideballed, pissed, teary-eyed.
What am I supposed to do?
I had just bought into the work culture at CPH because I know how corporate America can be. I had just bought in. My immediate supervisor is amazing. My former immediate supervisor, the CFO, amazing people. Personally, individually, amazing people. But this knee-jerk reaction that the company had because I was running was odd. I said, wait. Why? Where's this coming from? I'm not gonna say the name. My immediate supervisor. May want to bleep that out. My immediate supervisor knew about me running. Knew about all this. I had the mayor and everybody else assist me with obtaining candidate petition forms and walking on behalf, walking out there in the cold with me. Y'all knew I was running, and yet out of nowhere, I was like, "Where's this coming from?" Well, we received a call about a week ago. So y'all received a call for a week. Y'all had this information for a whole week that y'all was probably going to terminate me, and y'all just now getting back with me. I said, I already know what you're going to say, but do you care to say who? No, I promised the individual that I would not say. I said, okay, I already knew you was going to say.
But I don't understand. So, like, if they said that they received a call,
correct,
from an individual,
that they know the identity. So it's not. But
what did this individual say?
Exactly. Well, all they said was, are you aware that Demetrius Rease is running? And then he said, no, I do not. And he said, and I guess the individual, again, I can't say what they said because they're trying to be as vague with me as possible. Yeah. So, and he said, well, are you aware of the conflict of interest or whatever? And whatever they talked about, again, I'm not on the call. I'm not involved.
And you don't know who this was.
Exactly. They know. So again, the person's not anonymous. It's just that they won't disclose the information of the individual. And so I asked. I said, I kind of figured you're gonna keep the person's identity disclosed or non-disclosed. But I just kept pressing on. Something doesn't sound right. I said, is it an opponent? I said, you don't even got to say that if it's an opponent. I said, is it city or is it non-city? And I can't remember because, again, hyper emotional during that curveball.
So you asked him if it was what now?
If the individual that called a week prior worked with the city or if it was just a regular citizen. But I'm pretty sure they said it was not city. And again, at this point, their words
don't really mean anything.
It don't really mean anything. He could have told me it was a Martian. Who knows?
Yeah.
And so my former supervisor, the current CFO of the company, said that it was not city. So I'm like, okay, that kind of crosses off a few names of who it could be. And I said, it's just odd. It's just, again, teary-eyed at this point. Tears streamed down my face.
You lost your job.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything.
Yeah, we had just, of course, reelected for benefits. I had full benefits. The health saving cards, the whole 9. I was going to get my kids reading glasses, the whole 9. And the HR representative was trying to say, trying to wrap up the meeting. I'm like, hold on now. You just terminated me. This is just another 2 p.m. Friday meeting for you. This is my livelihood, or at least a portion of it. This is how I feed my kids, clothe my kids, house my kids, drive my kids. This is how I provide their health care, their dental, their vision. this is just another 2 p.m. for you, HR representative. This is my life. You're
And
talking
you got
about.
a call from some boy that just got me fired.
And the HR exactly, and the company had a knee jerk reaction, didn't think anything through. So when I press about the conflict of interest thing, again, I'm hired as hourly non-exempt. You only refer to salaried exempt. On top of that, it states towards the bottom, you have to contact the company and or your immediate supervisor, of which I did. Even though I didn't even know at the time he was my immediate supervisor, because I happened to log into the employee portal one day to update my address. And I realized, oh, I'm reporting to him now, who is my former coworker, instead of the CFO directly. Okay. They didn't ever told me about it. Took it for what it is. But regardless, I still reported directly to my immediate supervisor. And so I pressed about the conflict of interest, and I'm just like, this doesn't make sense. HR reps are saying, well, read the handbook. Cool. I did. You're wrong. Huh. And so when I pressed about the conflict of interest, he said, well, there's also, more or less insufficiency with the quality and quantity of the output of your work. I'm like, oh, that's a fancy way of saying you're a shit employee. That's a very
It's amazing how you're just now telling me.
Yeah. It's amazing that you're just now telling me, because one, I can't tell you how many clients I work with. I work with Chick-fil-A, Murphy USA, the 7 Brew that's going over there on Tyndall Parkway, Walmart, the numerous Walmarts, especially Chick-fil-A. I work with a lot of Chick-fil-A's, the William Joe Rish Park over there in Point St. Joe. The list goes on. Starbucks, Pan Express. So if I'm doing such a bad job, why do I have so many clients that I'm designing for? If I'm doing such a bad job, why did I receive 2 or 3 bonuses since my 1.5 tenure at the company? If I'm doing such a bad job, why is it okay for me to be hired within the engineering department to now be cross-trained with the architecture department? If I'm doing such a bad job, you wouldn't give an employee more responsibility. You would probably limit or put them on a corrective action. You have not put me on a corrective action. And on top of that, this is the first I'm hearing about any of this poor sufficiency of quality and quantity of output of work. In addition to that, we've had 2 more or less horrible employee reviews. And when I say horrible, I mean, how do you, to reference the Beach Drive referendum, which is an absolute joke to put on the ballot. That's more or less how the employee reviews are. Like, they never really graded me. All they said was Demetrius is excelling well. Demetrius is picking up this. Demetrius, we would like to see Demetrius this. He wants to also do the architecture department. We're going to cross-train him, things of that nature. So as far as I'm concerned, you haven't provided any feedback, any quantifiable. You provided qualitative feedback, which appears to be positive. Qualitative data is subjective to opinion, but it appears to the common person to be pretty good. B+, A- maybe. So why is it that all of a sudden it's my work is insufficient?
Yeah.
Because you haven't provided me a quantitative data. You have not provided me a number. You've provided me bonuses throughout the years. You don't give a bonus to an employer that's doing a crap job. Yeah. Just don't. So between the conflict of interest issue, which again, what part refers to me, and I did inform my immediate supervisor, and thus the company, and then also the insufficiency of the quantity and quality of output of my work. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?
Sneak up in their bed and in the middle of the night and put a rat trap between them.
I could. I actually still have to go back to get my desk here. In
oh my God, this happened back in January. You still haven't went and got your stuff?
No, I have all my belongings and whatnot. It's just because the camp. Yeah, I just kind of kicked the can. I've been working just at home, on the computer and whatnot. But yeah, they have these old, outdated desks and furnitures and appliances in there and whatnot. And so with me again being frame of a 6'3", 300 guy, I mean that old 1980s, 70s desk. I could barely fit in it. I even complained about, neck pain and having to go like this just to get eye level with the monitor. So I brought my own stand-up workstation desk and my own extra large work chair that could raise and elevate. It could stand
I feel like
up.
if I was going to fire somebody like you, I would have to have a shotgun when I did it. Just be like,
and honestly,
you're fired.
Yeah, well,
you're
honestly,
a big old dude, bro.
I get told that all the time. And honestly, that's kind of how the physical demeanor was of my formerly supervisor. He seemed like he was kind of like, I know what we just did to you. I don't know how you're gonna react, but I'm a man, and my father and mother raised a legit
sound like you're
person.
very, very
So
educated.
I shook his hand. I said, I don't agree with this, but I shook his hand. Went to my desk, started packing my stuff. After I packed up my stuff, went to my immediate supervisor's office and said, "Were you aware of this?" He said, "Oh no, it's pretty much the same spill or whatever as what happened in the other office."
So how many degrees do you have again?
I don't have any completed degrees. So I have 2 classes left for my architecture degree from Kennesaw State University.
That was my point. I'm like, you're an intelligent guy,
Well,
so you're not going to do anything stupid.
Yeah, I'm not going to throw it all away.
And that's that thing, man, dude. Like back in the day, back in the like 50s or 60s, if you would have done that to somebody, they would have been thrown down in that office.
Yeah.
And like nowadays, everybody knows that they can just hide behind a lawyer or the law, and they just get away with
or
being
the
however
internet.
they want to be.
Exactly.
It's like I've had employers when I first came back from Tampa. I worked for this startup like company with like these guys, and it was a contracting company, and like these guys had no idea what they were doing. And yeah, they had this attitude. They were older, they were boomers. And they just sat there and they ran their mouth, and I was like, dude. And I had just came from like the military, and like in the military, I mean, if you got a problem with like if I have a problem with like my supervisor in the infantry, it's like we'll go drop top, take it to the wood line. You know, I mean that's just how it is.
Yeah.
That's a different world.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Man, dude, your tax dollars paid for me to do some crazy stuff. Whenever people are like, "Oh, thank you for your service," I'm like, "Dude, thank you." Do you know what it's like to shoot a 50 cal? Like, dude, I did it all the time. Like, it's freaking great.
Have the time of my life.
I want to try. I'm not. I know that you're trying to get out of here by a certain time, so I'm trying to fit everything
just let me
in.
know. Probably about 6:30, 6:35.
Oh, you good for till 6:30?
Yeah.
Okay,
My
sweet.
wife made arrangements that way I can have as much time as possible.
dude,
I do
all
have
right.
another meeting at 7, but that's at Alice's again. So I'll be eating Alice's
dude, all
twice
right,
today.
sweet. No, that's awesome. I wanted to round. First of all, how are you treated? That type of stuff, and that no person should ever have to go through that for wanting to give service back to their community.
Appreciate that.
So the fact that they would do that, they're shipped CPL.
What's that?
CPL? That was
CPH.
CPH?
Correct.
CPH. Hey, make sure we're going to run a shitbag meme about that douchebag.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of
I'm full disclosure. I'm not going to endorse it, but First Amendment. So hey,
nah,
do
bro.
what you do. So
Like, dude, I'm going to be a troll.
that's my thing. And it's like, and I think they thought I would have quit after that. And I'm like, full disclosure, I think I was paid $31.62 an hour.
Did you tell Josh Street about that?
No.
You didn't?
Well, my thing is, I don't know who did it. So my
Well,
assumption.
no, I'm just saying because like he's the guy that of course he's the incumbent, but like, so like when I was running for office, I had some threats that were coming in over text message, and I know who it is, and it's a fat ass freaking bearded nerd.
Oh,
And so
I think we have the same guy.
yeah, probably.
Probably coming up.
But anyway, I found out that I had these text messages that were coming in, and it was like, "Oh, you're gonna lose. You
Yeah,
suck. You look like an idiot tonight." Because
Glasses?
my first,
Yeah, same guy.
yeah. So, but anyway,
That's a full-time job then.
it is a full-time job to troll somebody.
Yeah.
And you don't have anything else better to do.
Exactly.
The thing about it is, man, is like I was getting this stuff, and like my first debate was horrible, and so like I looked like an idiot.
Same.
And
Mine was too.
No. You did good. You did all right.
Well, the format,
dude,
man. The
Getting used to
format.
the more and more you do stuff like this, the more and more
But
it's easier
podcast
to do.
is the way of the future. We saw how important it was in this
in the
recent
election.
presidential.
Yeah.
Like it's this is what real conversation looks like.
But my point is so I thought for like freaking months that Daniel Raffield was behind this stuff. And he tried to talk to me a couple times, and I wouldn't talk to him. I had nothing to do with him. And the reason why I had it in my mind that it was that way because he was the younger candidate that I was running against. And so I was like, I could see him do it. Like, and I also knew Daniel from the car lot. And he would laugh if he heard this. I'm not worried about what he's going to say, but we used to shit talk each other when we worked at the car lot, man. He picked on me. And I mean, I was kind of like in an odd way, like a little brother type thing. And he would pick on me. And so I was like, this is probably something he would do. And man, dude, when I found out that it wasn't him, you gonna talk about eating some crow? Because I was going around telling everybody, I was like, this motherfucker like, you know,
Well,
I sit there.
and that's the thing. That's why.
But when he found out about it, he was more mad than I was.
Really?
That's the reason why I was saying if you haven't reached out to Josh Street to let him know about that, the type of person that he is, the guy who came on the podcast, I mean, he would be pissed.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Again, I'm not throwing accusations at anyone because I'm not the type of person that just goes off of speculation or emotion. Like I'm going to assess.
Don't be like me.
No. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm going to, assess the situation. And until I have, an actual culprit, like I'm not going to throw any blame or whatnot. Maybe the individual can be disclosed if litigation would occur about wrongful termination. Maybe my employer would be forced to.
Oh no, they would.
Yeah, exactly.
You got an attorney?
So, I have not yet. I reached out to.
I got one for you.
I appreciate that.
His name is Matt Goldenhagen.
Okay.
With Goldenhagen Law. I'm writing down a note that way I can remember to give you his info before you leave.
Okay.
He's great. His wife's a defense attorney as well.
Interesting.
So I'm sorry to hear about that. That sucks.
Oh, yeah,
let's get back to city issues because that
Yeah,
right
man.
there, my blood's boiling about that one.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go back to what you said earlier, the non-binding referendum. All right. Why do you hate it?
It's a lopsided question, and I don't like those. I don't. I'm the type of person that if I don't care if it sounds ugly, I don't care if I'm gonna cry, I don't care if I'm gonna get heated. Tell me the truth.
Let's bring it up. Hey, Kendall, can you look up the non-binding referendum for the Beach Drive Pathway, Panama City, Florida? You should be able to find it, and we'll pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah. Because actually, I haven't looked at it myself. I've heard some chatter about it.
It's actually been revised. If what you're going to see is the attempt to be more neutral. The initial iteration, the initial draft was, as Doc would say, it was a question of do you like puppies and children? Everyone's going to check yes.
Well, we've seen non-binding referendums, especially at the county level, and I'm sure city levels too. But I know a couple that have been passed at the county level are passed along at the county level. The way that they word things, and sometimes the way that they word things isn't for something specific. So you could sit there and have a non-binding referendum that comes out on a ballot, and it's like, hey, are you for the county or city keeping our waterways clean and our air quality in pristine condition or something like that, right? And then people are like, well, I don't want to poison the waterways and I want clean air. Yes, they need to regulate that to make sure. But in the behind the scenes, you didn't know that there was a company that was going to be coming here that was going to create 5,000 jobs, that was going to have a factory that was 25 miles inland.
Yeah. And then
it's stuff like that. Yeah. And then people find out later on, they're like, wait a second, there are going to be jobs are coming. Why didn't that happen? Oh. And then they go, well, remember that non-binding referendum? We want to keep our air polluted. And then it's like, wait a second, you just screwed us out of jobs. And so, that type of stuff happens.
We see it all the time, especially with utilities. And it's like, I do the same thing day in, day out. And now my utility bill's up $75. It's like, well,
it's right there. It looks like WJHG. That first one's probably at WJHG.
Yeah.
Man, they're still around since we took over? That's weird. Yeah. Just kidding. For now. Let's see here. That's not the referendum, is it? Said April ballot. It's gonna be on the ballot.
And I mean, it's even in the title. It says it removes subjective language. They've made it more neutral, but it's still not.
It might be under images on Google. I bet you it might be.
Right.
Oh, look, there it is.
The current one or dated one?
Let's see when this is dated. This was April 22nd, 2025.
Well, that's the election.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we can read this one.
Yeah. More or less, it's still a lopsided question.
How many non-binding referendums are there?
I wasn't aware there was multiple ones.
There's a second one here. Should Panama City replace the Marina Civic Center with 115,000 square foot conference and events center for the conferences, trade shows, and concerts. What is that? Bro, you're running for this seat. You should. I'm just kidding.
Honestly,
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
I don't know much about the history of the Civic Center, but they probably should have tried to do more with it as far as repairs. And
Actually, there's
whatnot.
another one. There's a third one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait. Should Panama City replace the Marina Civic Center with a 4,000 seat outdoor amphitheater for concerts, festivals, and community? What are they doing here? Is there? Oh, look, there's a fourth one. Should Panama City replace the Marina Civic Center with 2,000 seats? What is up? Okay, what am I missing here? I thought we already decided that.
There's a fifth one.
Jeez, dude, what?
So from my understanding, and again, please fact check me if I'm incorrect, but
We will.
from
I'm
my,
just kidding. So-
from my understanding, when things are created as referendums, you can no longer talk about it on the commission board. Is that correct?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
For example, when referendums are created, you can the commission board can no longer talk about it during the commission board meeting.
That is true. Yeah.
So even if these are very quirky or weird questions or soft questions, one could suppose like maybe they're trying to get a response or trying to get a poll or gauge.
Well, it
on,
already was talked about before it went on.
Mm-hmm. But
So once this one was approved, the 11th day of February. So this is the newest one in it. It's approved. But can you go back up to the top one real quick? I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
Go
you're
ahead.
good. My thing is, because again, a lot of these referendum questions are fairly lopsided, to be frank. And in addition to that, my concern is, okay, are you just putting this as a referendum because you don't want to discuss it prior to election?
Well, they all agree to the wording.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, once it's there for the non-referendum, so I don't. Dude, man, I've hit my head so many times. So you're gonna have to repeat that question to me because
My thing is one, the questions in themselves in nature. The fact that I'm bad with abbreviations and whatnot.
WJHG.
There we go. I think they said that's Channel 7, I believe.
Yeah, that's News
So
Channel 7.
based off of what their headline said, the commission board agrees to remove subjective language. That in itself is already telling that they're trying to create a lopsided question.
Yeah,
to
let's
make
look
you
at
check
it.
yes.
Can you zoom in on the first one? Sorry, Kendall.
Oh no, you're good.
No. Okay, let's see here. Should the city of Panama City use state funding grant number 450940 to improve? My microphone is right here, buddy.
Oh, what's that?
Bring the microphone with you when you lean back.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay. Should the city of Panama City use state funding grant number 450940 TAC 1 to improve pedestrian safety, enhance landscaping, make storm water and environmental improvements, and beautify Beach Drive within the publicly owned right-of-way with the understanding that these funds are restricted and cannot be used for any other purpose or location in the city. There's only one sentence in that I have a problem with.
Mm-hmm.
What is yours?
My thing is, I understand it's on the ballot and they're given limited space for ink on paper, but it does not list really many of the cons with it. And if you go to the Preserve Beach Drive Foundation page, you will see all the cons, and those were excluded for numerous reasons.
What are your cons?
You're destroying the historicism of the Beach Drive. More than 60-70% of the properties across Business 98 or Beach Drive are owned by the homeowners across the road. Let's see, you're destroying a lot of the ecology and natural vernacular plant vegetation. Let's see, what else? You're going to put a multi-use path that's going to shrink the road from 12 feet to 10 feet. And I just drove the other day along Beach Drive with a standard size fire truck with its lights on. And regardless if the law was to pull over to the side of the road, that's not a lot of room as is. So reducing it to 10 feet is absurd. We see issues with reduced lanes all the time on Harrison Drive with what they're doing over there.
The city commission is not, they don't shy away from the fact that they like thin roads.
Which is
I've
crazy.
had this, and And you can go back to the podcast that I did with Brian Granger where he explained it, where he said it's supposed to slow down traffic. The issue that I have with it, and he knows, is that why in the hell would you want to slow down traffic on, I mean, Beach Drive is basically Business Highway 98.
Exactly.
So, well, I know why they would want to slow it down because they're wanting to turn it into, I think, how many crosswalks? Do you know how many crosswalks are
I don't know the specifics.
Okay, so there's seven new crosswalks to be added. That's why they want to slow it down. That's why they thin it down. I just talked to Ed Young last night. That was a good one.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about the fuel depot that's right there. So the FDOT did a study for them. I want to say it was 2018. No, don't quote me. But I mean, it was something like that. And so the fuel trucks that come in and out of there, I think they go up. They either go down Business 98 and go down Jinx, or they do go down Harrison. I can't remember. But when they go and they fill up at the barge and they come back around, they use Beach Drive.
Oh, yeah.
And you would have to be a freaking nerd
Oh, yeah.
to think that one of those trucks are going to come down Beach Drive without any type of ramifications from that. Or maybe that wasn't the word. Ramification, is that a good word?
I guess. Response, negative response.
Probably do. There's going to be some repercussions to that. Anyway, now, so it, and like, I know a lot of people are like, well, who cares? It's just a fuel truck. They can find another way in. Actually, no. Because if they come back down 15th Street, try to take Jinx or try to take even Harrison Avenue and come down, the turns that they have to make will hold up traffic, and it's actually a hazard, a traffic hazard.
Not only is the turning radius a logistical issue and it become a safety issue, you have to also consider, what are these trucks doing to roads? How do roads erode, and how are they hurt? Well, they're hurt by heavy traffic, for one, as far as the throughput of traffic, that is the amount of cars that go through it, but they're also hurt by the weight of the vehicles that are using that road. So by diverting these trucks, these tankers, to go to alternate roads, so we're going to be replacing our brick pavers along Harrison area anytime soon, or Jinx or whatnot. So why not just allow them to keep using what they're using? The state's already, that's another issue. The state owns the road. And from my understanding, the state has no intention on letting the city own that road. And secondly, why would the city want to own that road when we can barely keep up with our other streets and roads and utilities?
So I'm going to ask you, where did you get that info?
Oh, yeah.
No, where did you get that info that the state doesn't want to give up that road?
That's just my assumption. If they did, they would have already. This Beach Drive referendum is proof of those in favor.
If the FDOT doesn't want to give them the road, then it doesn't matter anyway. They're not going to be able to do any of this.
Exactly. But now the city's according to Janice Lucas that I spoke with earlier, and I confirmed with her, I thought it was between 1 and 2. She confirmed that we're approaching $2 million in design and attorney fees for the Beach Drive. Thank you. For a project that may never happen. We're approaching $2 million.
That's the problem.
We're approaching $2 million in attorney fees for a project that may never happen, that an overwhelming amount of verified signatures, because I'm one of them, that petitioned against the path.
Yeah.
And for them to combat it with, well, we have petitions also. Okay, show me. Well, we have we should have the path, a post on Facebook. You're telling me a like, an emoji, and that's a great idea. Wow, gee willikers. Like, you're telling me that's a verified petition? If our voting system was like that, this country would be in anarchy. So what it comes down to is, I put my address, my voter registration number, my birth certificate, my birth date, everything, my address, as a verified person that has petitioned against the path. And I believe as of today, I want to say it's sitting around 3,200 odd petitions against the path. So having this referendum and this lopsided question is really just trying to say, see, Florida, see state, we do have the numbers that want the path. And on top of that, it's a lopsided question. It's a referendum, which means that the commission board can't even talk about it, because if we talk about it, that means we have to actually address the issues, of which we've already discussed several.
Yeah. I definitely see the issue with that. The fact that it's something that we don't have permission to build on yet. Why would we be spending so much money? But
Logic would say buy the land, acquire the land, and then
And then you do
design.
that.
But we're already 100% done. And I believe there's actually a Facebook page called The Cove. I just recently became a member of. I think they have the 100% or the revised 100% drawings for the project done. So again, upwards of almost $2 million as of today, and for a project that may not happen.
so the only part that I disagree with you on is I do not think this is a lopsided question. The problem with it is it is too detailed. That's why this is a bad thing. So
Really?
let me explain. It goes over everything that they're going to do, but there's one portion. Now, there's a reason why when you look and see how things are written, and if it's really specific, you have to really ask yourself. It's like a contract.
Yeah.
This is really specific right here. Why is this so specific? Why is this so specific when it says, should the city of Panama City state funding to improve pedestrian safety, blah, blah, blah. It goes through all that. But then you come here and it says, with the understanding that these funds are restricted and cannot be used for any other purpose or location in Panama City.
That part is questionable.
So hold on. Why is that so specific? Why do you want, now I'm not saying that, and by all means, I mean, maybe if you talk to a commissioner, they'd be like, well, we're just wanting the people to know that this can't be done. And my thing is nobody would ever question that about a grant. Not normally.
Because,
not normally.
Because it has been questioned. We see
Yeah,
that.
exactly. That's the reason.
Well, I mean, let's be frank.
It's like,
let's see if
it's
we
like
can.
you were really specific about that particular part.
Let's see if we can
So,
use any recent precedent case study.
Yeah.
I don't know. Civic Center, $60 million to the Martin Theater, which is now upwards of $33 million.
Yeah.
I wonder if those funds were reappropriated. Was that also a grant? I wonder if this could be the same.
Well, there are different types of grants.
I understand that.
Yeah, there are a lot of different types of grants and how they are done. Now, I do know that Jay Trumbull, Senator Trumbull, had written a letter to Doc stating that those funds could not be. I think I sent you that letter yesterday. If you wanted to bring that up, you can. Have you seen it?
I have not.
Oh yeah, you can pull up that letter if you want. I think it was Jay. I could be wrong. If it's not,
It was.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. Yeah, so Senator Trumbull did send Doc Rowan a letter that said that those funds cannot be reallocated. So that came from a senator. But for the sake of argument, I have to play devil's advocate just a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah, when he brings up that. But getting back on this.
I mean, there's other things like if you can, could you pull up the Beach Drive Foundation page? Again, I don't think.
Let's pull up the letter first. And then
pull up the letter
page.
first and then their page. Because when you look at the things that will actually be done that are not advantageous towards either the citizens, the safety, the historicism, the ecology, the plant life, and the shoreline, when you look at those things and you gauge, like, is this project worth it? Should it be done? Is it ethical?
Yeah.
You know, it really puts things into perspective. I understand not having things too detailed and too wordy, but at the same time, doesn't that also mean you're more informed?
What's up, dude? Yeah. However, I will tell you that first of all, I don't have a dog in this fight. I have Rails to Trails in Lynn Haven. I use it every morning, man. I live right off of it. I love it. It's one of the greatest things that Lynn Haven ever added there. I'm for pathways. Again, am I going to use this one in Panama City? I would, because I like Beach Drive, and I would actually like to run that area. I was telling Ed last night, I used to run the sidewalk on Beach Drive every evening and every morning and every evening. I used to run about close to 8 miles a day. So I do like 4 in the morning, 4 in the evening, 5 in the morning, whatever. But the thing about it is like, I used to catch the sidewalk lip because of all the erosion of the sidewalk. And so my biggest argument, I feel like a broken record, because I've said this to everybody. I've said it to Brian Granger, I've said it to Josh, I've said it to freaking Ed Young, I've said it to Robbie Hughes, and now I'm saying it to you. All right, check it out. You can't maintain a sidewalk. Why are you building a path?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's one.
Exactly.
Number two, and I would like to see that plan. How are you going to maintain this thing?
Yeah.
Because this is only phase one, because this is going to go up Frankfurt, and it's going to go into like Sweet Bay area, and then it's going to go over to St. Andrews and all of that. But the thing about it is I think the pathway is a good thing. I think it's a good idea. But if the majority of people don't want it, it's not worth it.
Exactly.
So the non-referendum, though, and sorry, respectfully, you will never convince me that a non-binding referendum is a bad thing because it is specifically for data. That's all the city commission is trying to do is they're trying to gain data. But in this particular case, and this is a question for one of them, and I really am going to ask, when I get out of this, I'm going to go ask one because it just now came in my brain.
Yeah.
Why are you doing a non-binding referendum on something that might not even happen?
Exactly.
But of course, they're doing the same thing because if you looked at 3, 4, 5 of those non-referendums, can they do what they're claiming they can do in those questions?
Exactly.
Can they? I'm asking you. Like,
no idea.
Like the Civic Center, the 4,000 square foot, whatever, or the amphitheater, they're doing non-binding referendums on all of these things.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, can you do any of those? Well, the thing about it is they can because that's city property. But like you said, this isn't.
Exactly.
So why are we going through all this trouble on property that we don't own?
I'm glad you mentioned it because it's something that I've considered that I've been told I'm the first to bring it up. And so you mentioned if the path were to go through, hopefully it doesn't, but if the path were to go through, then essentially it would connect downtown PC to St. Andrews up to Sweet Bay along Frankfort. So the concern is what's the importance there? Well, it's U.S. Business 9A, okay? It's a state route. And as of now, from my understanding, local ordinances and laws state that you cannot use a golf cart to cross a state road. So the concern is, are we doing this project as, how do you say it? What did magicians do? They're distracting you with this and they're really doing this over here. Sleight of hand. So are they really using this path, this multi-purpose path, which I don't think we need the path for the lack of demand that I see along joggers, bicyclists, going along Beach Drive. Are we using this path as a sleight of hand tactic in order to acquire the state route, in order to allow golf carts to go from downtown PC to St. Andrews to...
I don't know about that. I know golf carts are not allowed on rails trails.
Correct. They're not allowed on rails or trails, but they're also not allowed across state routes. And with US Business 98...
But if they take over the road, it will no longer be a state route.
Correct. And so now we have the concern of, okay, well, who can drive a golf cart? No. From my understanding, I don't know the law completely, but from my understanding, anybody. I see kids all the time, especially as an Uber and Lyft driver. I see kids. So we're talking about downtown PC and downtown St. Andrews. What are we really talking about? What's the predominant economy over there? Like we've already mentioned, bars and restaurants. Yeah. So what are we really... Now we're talking about safety issue. And we could probably, I think... maybe Doc or somebody has already asked the police chief about this, but how do you feel about the safety of having this, path done? And now it's no longer state route, and thus people can use the golf carts. I mean, what are they going to do from, a few people will jog, a few people will bike. We see it already on Beach Drive. But now when the sun goes down and you're drinking at your local pub, you're like, hey, I don't want to take an Uber and spend all that money. I'm going to just take my cart further down. Yeah. So now we have an issue of safety regarding DUIs and just recklessness, and I don't know.
It could be. I mean, there's always those possibilities that are there. It's not like it's not a bad argument. But yeah. So this was the letter that was sent. This was sent by Jay Trumbull. So Mayor Rohan, I wanted to follow up on our conversation regarding options for the transfer of appropriation funds, specifically the Beach Drive sidewalk improvements. I reached out. Okay, so here's the other thing. It's not sidewalk. So he messed up. Like I'm a specific type of person.
Yeah, I'll take
that right there. That's not cool. It's not. So he's wrong. You don't sit there and say that it's the Beach Drive sidewalk improvements. It's a new
multi-purpose
freaking path. It's new construction. You're not improving anything.
Exactly.
You're designing and developing something that is new.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry. I'm a stickler on this.
No,
I reached out to the Senate staff to clarify options that are available for the transfer of these appropriated funds. Staff cited Florida State Statute 216.292, which reads, appropriations for fixed capital outlay may not be expended for any other purpose. Appropriations may not be transferred between state agencies or between the state agency and the judicial branch unless specifically authorized by law. Unfortunately, this leaves very few options. The law is very clear on the use of these funds. Staff went on this to specify any appropriations for the capital outlay projects can only be used for the purpose designated by the General Appropriations Act. The funds can be used. Specified appropriation of the funds will be forfeited. I am including the state-funded grant agreement between the Florida Department of Transportation and the City of Panama City. In addition, the Florida Department of Transportation approved the request of the City of Panama City for a time extension. Over the last week in Tallahassee, I exhausted all avenues available to me to find alternative option other than the use of these funds specifically for what the city requested and was approved for in the return of money back in the State General Revenue Fund. If you need me for anything in additional, do not hesitate to reach out. This, so first of all, this to me, I did obtain this letter through a source that, and I'm sure anybody can, I hope, but this one right here, this is the reason why I listen to Bernie talk all the time. And it's like, dude, a Florida state senator sent this. Quit telling everybody that the funds can be reallocated. They can't. The only way to undo all of this is to not accept the appropriation. That's it. That's the only option.
In other words, don't accept the funds.
Don't accept the funds. If you don't want to, if you don't, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day,
which by the way,
money,
I'm in agreement with it. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The argument that is had right now by most of the sitting commissioners that I've talked to is, well, it's money that is given. If we don't take it, another city is going to take it. So we might as well take it. But my problem,
it's not needed.
Let them. But I am for one of the people. I understand the argument. And like again, if leave it to the people. So that non-referendum is a good thing because people are able to look at it and they're able to be like, hey, we're going to find out whether or not the majority like it or the majority don't like it. What's really good about a non-referendum? What do you think the best thing is for a non-referendum for a citizen? You get to see if your commissioner for your ward gives a damn about what you say.
Yeah.
And then that tells you who the hell you need to get out.
Yeah.
Now, if they side with you as the people, that means they're doing their job. So a non-referendum is really good for the citizen to be like, wait a second, hold up. It didn't go through. The majority said no, and you're still going through with it anyway.
Well, we already can kind of see that because I'm still going backwards in time, looking at all the commission meetings that have been posted to YouTube because that's where. Not sure why, but that's where the city decides to post its meetings instead of their official web.
Oh no, they're corrupt because they didn't do it on Facebook.
Yeah. And so I've been informed that it's been numerously stated numerous times during various meetings that the current commissioner for Ward 4 has stated that this project is going to happen. And now all of a sudden, a month and a half before election, it's, well, what do the people think? Well, where's that? Keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. At its inception, you're saying it's going to happen. Like, people don't have a choice. And all of a sudden, right? Coincidence. Election's coming up, and now you're concerned about their input. It's inauthentic.
Well, that's the reason why. So I went to when they did, I don't know if you went to it. It was like last year where you went down to the city building and they had all of the different drawings, whether or not you wanted the path that went straight.
The library.
Well, no, it was down at City Hall.
Okay,
but it was like, they had models of like which path you wanted. And so on that, and it was done by Panhandle Engineering, Chris Forehand and them. And so, and I talked to Chris.
That's another thing. CPH actually bid, my former employer bid on the project.
Oh, yeah.
And we lost. Panhandle got the job. And so it's like, you firing me because I was against the path. I wasn't aware that we bid. I was before my termination, but I wasn't aware.
Oh, so you think that you were actually let go because you were against the path?
One of those reasons, which is ironic because it's like, I wasn't even aware that our company had already submitted a bid and obviously lost the bid for the project. But was that, again, a knee-jerk reaction to say, well, we're not sure if he's going to agree to some of the other projects that we're going to bid towards, so let's get rid of him. And it's,
Yeah. So the thing about it is like they did this whole model where they had like, I think they had like 4 different models up there, and you could go look at it. Again, I don't live in Panama City, so like it, but I wanted to see, I was running for county at the time, and I wanted to go up there and see it. And I spoke to Chris forehand for a minute or two. And then just kind of looked at all the different models. And even when I was looking at it, I was like, well, this is really cool. But then it was like the big controversy of, well, you know, save Beach Drive whenever you drive down Beach Drive, and all these signs are along there. And I'm going, how does this work? Like, did you guys just decide one day you're going to do this? So the non-referendum that they're bringing in around now, I just feel like, and we're all allowed to have our own opinions. Yeah. I feel like they did it backwards.
Of course, you get the input first.
I feel like you should have got the input first on should we have a path? Yeah. Right? Where, like, so start with, do we need a path? Yeah. Where should the path go? Like baby steps rather than.
It's an upside down pyramid. It's upside down cake. Whatever analogy you want. They started at the roof and then try to finish with the foundation. It's just just ass backwards. There's no polite way to put it, and that's not how that's not how you represent the people. Yeah, you can't say, "Oh, I'm for the people." I'm for the people. You know, you're not. If it's for the people, you get their input first, regardless of how you feel about it. You get their input first because that's what you're there for.
Because you want to sit there and say that it's all about transparency, right?
Exactly.
And then it's like, well, when you didn't ask us to begin with, but now you all of a sudden do. That doesn't sound very transparent.
And lack of transparency, I mean, can we even do the project? Can we even possess the road to do the project? Where's the transparency?
I think that all of that is, to be honest with you, and this is just, again, who cares if we possess the road? Who cares about, like, take all of that out of the equation, right? Mm-hmm. And you just say, do people want this?
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
We'll figure out everything else later. You know, it's like.
That question is crucial, but the best decision makers you can't have all the information in the world. It's impossible. But you can have the most possible information and be just well informed. So with that, could you pull up?
We'll pull up the page.
Have you had a chance to look over the Beach Drive page?
Dude, man, I've been so busy.
No, I completely understand. No, trust me. Ever since I got into this campaign process, I'm like, holy cow. Weeks are going by like hours, I feel like. Yeah, and I mean, after I saw that, you know, I was just like, because again, you know,
I like to look at it like a vacation. Mm-hmm. You go to your wife and you say, hey, babe, you want to go on a vacation? The first thing that comes out of your wife's mouth is, we don't have the money to go on a vacation. And be like, hold on. You want to go on a vacation? Mm-hmm. Yes, I want to go on a vacation. Where do you want to go? You want to go on a cruise? You want to go to Orlando? You want to go to the Smoky Mountains? You want to go to Vegas? Where do you want to go? Well, babe, we don't have the money. Shh. We're coming up with a roadmap on how we're going to get there.
Exactly.
And then it's like, well, I want to go to the Smoky Mountains. Okay, cool. Where do you want to stay? You got to have all these questions to know what your budget is going to be.
Exactly.
And to know how it's going to work.
Exactly.
That's how government should operate with the people. It should be that communication back and forth, just like a husband and a wife.
Yeah.
And then you're able to bring it all together.
Exactly.
We'll figure out how we're going to do it. Let's just make sure that it's something we want to do.
Well, and really, there's 2 approaches to that. That's one solution. It's this page. That's one approach to it. You can start with the plan. I mean, honestly, that's how most people live their life. I want to do this. I want to be here. I want to graduate right here. I want to retire by this age. Let's see how this roadmap, how we do it. The other approach is, and sometimes you can take from both, but sometimes the approach is, okay, we're going on vacation this upcoming summer. We're going to be gone for 5 days. We're going to Vegas. Okay, our budget is, let's see, family of 6. Our budget is $5,000. It's everything. Flight. We're going to be a little bit more frugal. We're driving. We're going to hit up some parks and different monuments along the way. Yeah. So we're calculating. So you can start with the budget and determine, okay, we're not going to be able to go on every single roller coaster or ride or whatever it's on, the stratosphere in Las Vegas, but we can do this.
Yeah.
You know, so you can start with the budget and then filter your results, or you can just say, we would like to do this, and this is how we get to this.
But the way the Panama City Commission did it was, I set the reservation.
Yep. I set the reservation.
Oh, by the way, I put it on a credit card.
Yeah.
And we're good, baby.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't decline. Like you gonna be back there. You gonna be back there washing them dishes.
I hope a credit card goes through, babe, because we're like, we're broke.
Yeah, but
We're not broke. We got $500 in the bank. You just set us up for a $13,000 vacation in freaking the Alps, bro.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at this. So what am I looking at here?
So this is just their page. It pretty much goes over pretty much the cons of it. So I'm again, full disclosure and transparent. I'm against the path. I've heard numerous individuals that live along Beach Drive, and also you'd be surprised how many.
I walked Beach Drive.
Yeah.
I talked to people about.
Yeah, and it's not just the people that are on Beach Drive. Even though we see, of course, the signs are there along Beach Drive. I mean, it's people blocks away. It's people throughout the entire city that, got asked, like, hey, like, just look at this and voice your concern. Again, it's about 3,100 petitions signed against. That's just against it.
So how many people even freaking vote in our municipal election in Panama City? Do you know?
I don't know the exact number. Right. I know it's nowhere near it should where it should be.
You gotta
but
bump that. You gotta know, bro. You're like, dude, you gotta. I need to hit this many houses. Because if it's 3,100 petitions, dude, like that's a pretty. Like that's almost. I mean, I can't. What is that?
There's nothing to sneeze at.
We've got 200. Don't quote me, but it's pretty close. We've got 203,000 citizens that are here right now. So 203,000 citizens just in Bay County.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. I was like,
sorry, not Panama City.
Yeah, I was like,
so if you do the math on that, and there's 3,100 people that signed a petition just in the city of Panama City. Now, is that Panama City or is that just Ward? Wait. The path is in Ward 1. Ward 1.
Yeah, Ward 4 begins west of Frankfort Avenue.
Okay.
And everything east and south of 98, I believe, is Ward 1.
Okay.
So north side of Ward 4 is all over the place.
So if those 3,100 petitions are just from people from Ward 1.
I'm not sure exactly where they're from, but my assumption would be they would be citizens of
you would
Panama
have
City.
to be in the city limits.
Yeah.
So.
But the page, it pretty much lists out all the cons. I haven't looked at this in some time. Again,
let's see here.
The last I looked at it, was when I
Scenic,
signed.
authentic, historic, and beautiful. Vote no on the referendum. Why? You, our citizens, have already told the commissioners twice what you think about the path. All right. Where did that come from? What do you mean twice? What are they talking about?
What's that?
They say that they've already told the commission twice what they think of the path. So it says, you, our citizens, have already told the commissioners twice what you think about the path.
So if I understand correctly, has
there been 2 non-binding referendums?
Well, I think there's been 2 workshops. And during those workshops, from my understanding, I didn't attend either one, but from my understanding, it was an overwhelming majority against the path. And that's the thing, when it comes down to it, regardless if you're for or against something, you got to show up and voice your opinion. And
yeah, I got you.
It was a large amount of people that were.
So your city
with
commissioners are not listening. They are trying every angle to do what they want and not what the majority of the people already told them twice. Is it time to vote in commissioners that will listen to the people and eliminate commissioners that do not? In 2025 election, let your voice be heard by voting out commissioners that do not listen to the voice of the people about Beach Drive. Here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
If they haven't done a non-binding referendum right now, you don't know what commissioners are on your side and which ones are. Just because they get up there on the dais and they speak and they talk, they don't have anything to no actual factual data to base it on, which is why they have the non-binding referendum. Now that's coming from like the outside looking at it, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, look, bro, I'm coming but.
And that's why if you click on some of the other categories, I think like maybe environmental impacts and let's see what else we got up there. Let's see.
My question is why are people against the non-binding ref? So the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because I have been talking to Karens and freaking crazy people on freaking Facebook that call me a clown and I'm not real or whatever, and so. And I asked this question. I'm like, what is wrong with a non-binding referendum? And everybody goes straight to, well, they're not going to listen to us and blah, 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 blah. Well, you're not going to know if they're not going to listen to you until you do the referendum. Vote on the referendum and then you will know whether or not. Now, listen, those commissioners that are up there, they have opinions just like everybody else. So they're going to voice those opinions. But the thing about it is when you do a non-binding referendum, I call it a binding referendum because it's binding them to the people.
Yeah.
Because you have to vote because of what the people want. Because if you don't, you know, we hold them accountable, but hold them accountable on whether or not they're voting for your best interest. The only thing about the workshops that, like, if a lot of people showed up to the workshops, again, I feel like it needs to be an overall vote for the taxpayer.
And that's all it is. Again, like
because a lot of people don't go to those workshops.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, again, let's role play, for example. And of course, like, I'm gonna get slack for saying like, oh, you're not saying it because you're not in there right now. But if I was incumbent commissioner right now, and let's say I was against the path, and let's say it was a 65-70% in favor of the path, I will buy. I don't think this is a good idea, but I swore an oath. I'm going to represent the people.
Yep.
We're going through with it. That's the job. That's the job. And so regardless, you can voice your opinion and you're in that position for a reason. But at the end of the day, you're sworn to represent the people.
Yeah.
I don't care. It could be 99%. It could be 51%.
Yeah.
For it. I gotta go with that majority.
Yep.
That's the whole purpose.
Oh, that's because you have a conscience.
Yeah, I have a conscience. I have a conscience.
And you're also worried that those people with pitchforks are going to freaking show up on your freaking front lawn going, you didn't vote for what I said.
Exactly.
So,
and when the individuals of the minority are saying, hey, like, you're not for it, but you know, why did you vote for it? Well, it's because I have to represent the people, and that's usually where the majority is. So.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. Sea turtles visit our coastline as seen in Florida wildlife. Did you know that's the reason why street lights are not out past on 30A?
Yeah.
They don't have street lights out on 30A because of sea turtles.
I'm telling you.
Let's see here. Daylight at night. Ambient intensity 592.49 lumens. Ambient color temperature Kelvin. Okay, 100% wrong. 11 July 2023 at 3 hours 16 minutes. Click on that. I want to watch it.
We're still good on time?
Yeah, that's what I was checking. I was like, I don't want you to go over.
Okay.
So
yeah, it's almost like 6:35.
Dude.
Well, probably. I mean, I'm just going to Alice it, so like 6:45ish.
Ed was here until freaking.
Yeah. I should have gave you a warning. Ed, man, he has an abundance of knowledge.
So what was the timestamp? Jeez, man, these meetings are long.
They are. Sometimes I'm
you
like,
sure you want to do that?
Yeah,
Nah, dude.
Yeah. I've been told I'm a patient person, so
Yeah. Let's see here, 3 minutes 16.
I'm just glad I don't have an overactive bladder because that would be a pain in the butt.
So, man, dude, let me tell you something. When I moved here, when my parents moved here back in '93, I mean, you could walk down Panama City Beach. Well, you could drive down Panama City Beach and it was beach. Like now, you can't see the beach from the road.
Oh yeah.
All of these condos that were there, it's like boom, 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 boom.
That's
boom.
like in St.
And
Andrews.
It's like, you know what? It started though. It only took one.
Yeah.
It only took one nerd to come in, and he was just like, and then it just boomed.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. This guy convinced me a little bit, because like I said, I don't care if there's a path or there's not a path.
Yeah.
The vegetation and the environmental, I don't know, man. This is 2025. There's too much technology out there now to worry about that kind of stuff because engineers, you're an engineer. Chances are you're probably smarter than me at engineering, right?
Well, not engineering, architecture.
Architecture.
But I have
know what
some
I'm
knowledge.
saying.
Yeah.
You're going to be smarter than me about it. So you're probably going to be able to give me the ins and outs of regulation on how things should be done. And that's the same thing that these engineering companies do. So the argument, right? He just said something that I don't care about the vegetation. First of all, this is going to be according to documentation. This is actually going to be good for the environment because it's going to help with stormwater runoff and all that, right? But what he just said hit me harder than anything else, and it's the heart factor, right? He did say that. He said, Beach Drive is one of the last iconic historical landmarks that we have here in the city. That right there, that statement alone should, as a commissioner and even as the mayor, you should sit back and you should be like, okay, he has got a good point. It's almost kind of like it should be a preserve.
It shouldn't be touched. Exactly.
But if you do it as it's a preserve, you wouldn't be able to utilize it either. Well, I don't know. State parks do it.
Exactly. State parks.
How does that work?
My thing is, how can it not be utilized? I can't tell you how. I live 2 or 3 blocks from the bay. I can go to the bay whenever I want.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and we don't walk.
Yeah.
We drive to, I think it's Asbell Park, one of the parks. We drive and we park.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm trying to see how this path is supposed to make accessing the beach more possible. If you want to go to the beach at the bay, you go. What is stopping anybody?
Well, nobody even goes. So here's the other thing, right? Nobody.
And is the water even clean enough to even swim in? That's a whole nother thing.
Nobody even goes there, and yeah, that area of the bay is very polluted. At least that's my opinion. I don't have facts to back it up.
No,
but
is.
I mean, it is. I'm pretty sure it is.
My wife works at the hospital, and she had one patient that was swimming at the bay, and then I think a few days later, he has this flesh-eating bacteria on him now. And
dude,
that's usually because of septic septic-like areas and tainted water. So it's like.
But the thing about it is right now, nobody utilizes Beach Drive anyway. I mean, you get a couple of teenagers out there that'll go shark fishing every once in a while. That's about it. I mean, you have people that utilize that park that's down there by Lake Caroline. But other than that, Beach Drive isn't really utilized. That's the reason why when this first came along, I was like, it's just a bunch of old freaking rich people that live on Beach Drive that are all pissed off because
that's the general assumption.
When I bought this house, it was supposed to be a natural view. And it's like, lady, this is not New York. You do not have air rights here. I mean,
and that's kind of my argument.
The thing about it is like you said, if the Florida Department of Transportation still hasn't given the road, none of this should be taking place anyway. Sorry, that's just my opinion.
Is this
that's
what it
my
is?
opinion. So that's where
it's as backwards. There's no other. I'm trying to refrain from using profanity, but there's just no way around it.
Hey, you're running for office.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. No, but no. That's the argument, right? The thing is rarely ever the thing. The thing is not vegetation, trees, the environmental aspect. That isn't it. The issue is not money. The issue is not any of that. The issue is let's wait to hear back from the Florida Department of Transportation before you start spending taxpayers' dollars on what you've done.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, all of those other arguments, that doesn't mean anything because that shows up on a referendum.
Exactly.
I don't care what your freaking heartfelt feelings are about turtles. Okay. Listen, From a logistic standpoint, but
let's see if this is even a question we're having.
Exactly. After you get the Department of Transportation on board that says, hey, we're going to let you take over this road, then do the non-binding referendum. Yeah. And then after the non-binding referendum, hey, guys, the community wants a fucking path.
Yeah.
Why don't we hire an engineering company to come in here and let's see, what we can do. But instead, like you said, it was flip-flopped.
Yeah.
We did all of the steps backwards.
And again, maybe it's overshadowed sometimes, but one of the biggest things is, a question that will hit everybody in the city of Panama City and really Bay County in general is, okay, this path sounds like a great idea, but how often will you use it, for one? And then two, do you feel like the current state of Beach Drive is worth the taxpayer money? Because regardless if it's a grant, FEMA fund, or whatnot, it comes from the taxpayer dollar.
Yeah.
Should this taxpayer dollar go towards this, or maybe we decline the funds and then we request an actual grant for real roads that have real issues and potholes the size of my rear end that need to be fixed? Because when you leave your house in your neighborhood, are you going like this all the time?
Actually, I do.
Exactly. But hey, let's fix a road.
Yeah.
That, from my understanding, just received, about $6 million for it a few years ago. It's fine.
I think what you're getting at is that, if you're going to Tallahassee and you're applying for a grant, or not apply might be the wrong word used there. But if you're going to go to Tallahassee and you're going to go try to get a grant, why don't you get something that's worth a damn. I gotta really, because I'm gonna have to edit all this out. There's gonna be a lot of blanks in there, like blank space. But like, I'm trying not to do that with candidates as much as I can. But anyway, go and apply for freaking stuff that we're gonna be able to utilize.
We
that's a need.
Exactly. We're worried about.
Dude. Stop repeating what I'm. Quit saying what I'm saying at the same time, bro.
Jinx, man. No, but seriously, it's like it's like, you know. You have to address needs before wants. Wants are, as my discussion with Janice Lucas earlier was, is like beach drive is a privilege issue. There's real issues that need to be addressed. There's real infrastructure that's outdated. Fire hydrants. We saw the yacht club.
That's why I laugh. Sorry. That's why I laugh about the beach drive thing.
Yeah.
Well, no, hold on. That's why I laugh about downtown. I'm not going to get into the money aspect. I know you probably would go down that road, but I'm not going down that road. But what I am going to say is, you tore up. So Nathan Taylor, I don't know if you know who that is. He runs Papa Joe's, but he used to run CNG Sporting Goods downtown. And so they tore up the road for months. They almost destroyed a lot of business, and they destroyed business access down on Harrison Avenue to put pavers in. And we want to say that a lot of these roads were tore up from Hurricane Michael because of all of the impact from the... Let me explain something. And I want to look into the camera because everybody's going to know which road I'm talking about. In between Business Highway 98 and Harrison Avenue along Beach fucking Drive right there, that road has been jacked up since before Hurricane Michael was even a thought.
Yeah.
That road has always been bad. It has always sent me to a freaking chiropractor.
I know which road you're talking about.
And they have never fixed it.
Man.
But you're going to freaking sit there, and then it's like, and I get the argument, right? Because if you talk to a commissioner about it, if you talk to a mayor, you talk to the manager, whatever, they're going to be like, well, we have different pots of money that are for different things. Find a pot of money to fix that road.
This is literally what Doge is about. This is what the Department of Government Efficiency is about. Is, hey, just because someone offers you a 3% cashback credit card,
you know what road I'm talking about.
Doesn't mean. Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about. The one near the Chevron, right?
It's right there with the
at the end of Beach Drive where Chevron's at, and it just like you're on a wooden roller coaster, man.
Bro, I went down there to go have. Dude, I interrupted you again.
No,
I'm so sorry.
you're good.
I went down there to go have dinner with my parents the other night. At Mosey's, and freaking, because my mom and dad were like, yeah, let's go get pizza, and then we were like, oh, you've never been there? And they're like, no, and I'm like, yeah, you got to try their pizza. So we're like going down there, and my dad comes off of Beach Drive and turns right there because there's the fuel depot, and he turns down, and I was in the backseat of the truck.
Wooden roller coaster.
I just found out that like the front of the vehicle in the passenger seat, the driver's seat, that's the safest place to be when you go down that road, because I was in the back seat and I'm sitting there like like going down that road.
Yeah, stay on the road,
like,
Dad.
What was funny is my dad was like, geez, man, this road. I was like, Dad, this road has always been like this.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, actually it has. Like, it's been really, really bad. Yeah. I mean, ride a motorcycle down that thing. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No.
I hate that road. I hate it.
I
hate it.
I literally avoid it just because of that. It's like, even if it's like my destination's like right there, I'm like, no, I'm gonna go around, come down Harrison or Jinx.
Yeah.
I'm not going on that.
I hate that road, man.
It's brutal.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No,
like,
you're good.
I'm just like, but that's what I'm talking about, right? Efficient.
Yeah. Back to the Doge.
Bro.
Back to the Doge thing. It's like, again, just because you get a 3% cashback credit card doesn't mean should you take it. It's like, factor. Do you need it? Do you want?
Maxing this bitch out.
Exactly. Pre-approved. Like no, cut it up and thanks for the offer. Cut it up,
man.
and maybe those funds could benefit someone else. In other words, okay, cool. You want to say that the funds can be reappropriated? Great. Decline the funds. One, this project probably won't happen just because of the fact probably not gonna get this road. And one, we can't even afford the upkeep or maintenance of this road. Look at the rest of the city. How do you know that? Look at the rest of the city. Look at that road we just talked about in downtown near my space, workspace area. Like, we can't afford the upkeep of the road. Just because it's offered does not mean you should accept it. It's as simple as that.
So you're saying that a lot of funds that we shouldn't accept.
Yeah.
But you are for grants as long as they are
They're needed. Not just
yeah.
wanted on what I call
So that's
pet.
a rumor that's going on around about you right now and Ed Young. So you can put it to rest right now.
What's that?
There are people that are going around saying that you guys are against using grants, period.
I love grants. I love FEMA.
Actually, you got to turn into here.
Oh, to here. I love grants. I love FEMA. If there's things that we can use those funds to repair the city.
Don't say you love FEMA.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
say, dude, you need a campaign manager.
Yeah, true. I love grants. If we can get grants for things that can actually benefit the city, let's do it. Let's not do it for essentially dumb pet projects, because that's what a lot of these things are. We look at Beach Drive, it's a privilege project. It's a pet project. We look at the Martin Theater, which is not going to make any profit that's going to generate any tax revenue for the city of Panama City. It's a pet project. And right now we're sitting at what, $33 million? I don't care where the funds came from. The funds could have been used for someone that actually needs it.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. It's not rocket science.
So you're basically saying,
it's
like, if you don't, so like that whole thing about, and I think Ed Young kind of hit on that last night, because he basically said, he was like, because I said to him, I was like, well, the whole thing about like these state appropriations is if you don't take it, they're just going to give it to somebody else. And he's like, good, give it to somebody that actually needs it.
And hopefully we can actually have an honor system and merit in the United States of America again. And hopefully if they don't need it, they decline it also. The youth would really hit this hard. Double it and give it to the next person type thing.
Yeah.
Do that. Actually have some merit and some grit about you, some morals, and decline the funds that you don't need for a BS pet project. And someone that needs it, they can utilize it. If they don't, they can decline it, and then maybe you can actually apply for a grant that can actually benefit the city of things we actually need done.
So maybe that's the issue here, was the state appropriation. I need to figure out how a state appropriation works, because I don't think that's something you apply for. I think that's something that is just offered to you by the state. So
regarding grants?
State appropriations.
Oh, okay.
So state appropriation is different than just a grant or grants. I'm wondering if that's the reason why this was done ass backwards, is because it was an appropriation versus a grant.
Try to find something to use it for.
Well, yeah. Well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually call, Jonathan Hayes is supposed to be coming on next week. I think he would be the perfect person to ask that to. Would be like, hey, is the reason why we are doing a non-binding referendum after you spent $2 million on an engineering firm, was that because it was a state appropriation? That would be my question.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it to him like that, because Jonathan Hayes is actually a really nice guy. But the thing about it is like, I feel like that's something that needs to be answered. Someone needs to run. I don't think anybody knows that. Do you know the process of a state appropriation versus a grant?
I do not.
Okay. So I think that's the main question is we need to figure out what's the differences, and if that's the reason why we've done things. But again, if Tallahassee came down and they said, or if Tallahassee offered us a state appropriation for the Beach Drive thing, then that would have been the time to do the non-binding referendum. Correct. Not after you spent money on a engineering firm. I'm sorry. I'm just keep going back to that. I mean, I'm just like, it doesn't make any sense. Again, I'm sure there's a reason, but nobody has said it yet.
It goes back to one of the first topics that we talked about, Chestnut. I don't want to talk about it too much because we've already discussed it. Yeah. But again, does St. Andrews need parking? Yes. But, at what cost? Do we, the road to hell, I can't say it enough. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Exactly. And,
yep.
I got a question for you, because
oh, fire codes. Yeah. Yeah. Have you looked into the codes yet? Do you know? Oh, okay. Yeah, you might want to look at, like, just, dude, don't take advice from me, but I mean, I lost my race, so I freaking.
But
what I'm saying is, I would try looking into some of these business. Go and walk St. Andrews. I don't know if you've done it yet, and walk into each business. This is what I would do, and I'd just be like, hey, man, what problems you're having with the city right now, and then see what red tape that they're dealing with. I guarantee you, restaurants. You know, Alan Branch running for mayor. You know that I think that's one of the reasons why he's running is because a lot of the red tape that he's had to cut to be able to have his establishments. So, I really do believe that that's one of the because he's able to see that from a business standpoint on what needs to be done. Now, I don't do interviews, man. I just talk to people.
Same.
I think it's great. And dude, so here's the deal. This is my key takeaways from you running for office, and then I'll let you do any closing statement or talk about anything that you want to talk about that we didn't talk about. But I think you are headstrong on the things that you want to see accomplished, and you don't get that a lot. And man, I think you're headed in the right direction. I really do.
I appreciate that
because you know you even changed my mind a little bit on the beach drive thing. I still think that I still would like a path. I would love to jog that area, but I have respect for the people around me too. So if they don't want it and they don't want to spend their tax dollars on it, because I don't live in Panama City, but. So, and then let's put this puppy to bed on the state of, well, it's free money or it's money that, no, it's not. It still is tax dollars.
Yep.
So everybody's paying for it. Technically, I am paying for it.
Exactly.
If you really want to think about it. And so the thing about it is like, if the people don't want it, then it doesn't need to go in. For sake of argument, though, I will say, I want to see what the non-binding referendum ends up coming out with.
I'm curious as well.
But at the same time, the non-binding referendum, and I will die on this hill, should have been done when the state appropriation was approved from the state. It should have never. That's when that should have been done. We should not have sunk any money into engineering costs or anything. However, I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt because I'm gonna make some phone calls, and next week when I have the city manager on, that is one of the questions that he will be getting is. Why did we do things this way?
I'm curious too.
Because I want to know. And I want to know.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, man, you go ahead, man.
Honestly, I'm not good with speeches, intros, or conclusions. So I know for sure the city of Panama City, it needs some new type of leadership and direction, new staff and support, needs fresh new ideas. People with decently morally aligned ideas with the common people, especially those that they're taxing. And I think more transparency will be appreciated more within the city from city staff and elected officials. More in community engagement, as we've seen again, doing taking a non-binding referendum in arrears when it should have been done from the forego. It's just horrible. And there are different things and technologies coming out there. I think that's going to help us accomplish that. There's actually one gentleman that actually reached out to me. He's a Panama City native. I believe he was born and raised in Ward 4, actually. He lives right now in New York, and he gave me, what does he work for? I think he works for Lockheed Martin, actually, in New York. And he gave me a code call. He develops websites on the side and whatnot. And he told me about a website called govtodo.com. I'm pretty sure, like 98% sure that's the name of it. If not, it should come up in your Google search. And what govtodo.com is pretty much more or less how back in the day you'd have like a library page or like the little library, little book thing that you have in some people's yards, where it's an online forum where you could, almost like Reddit, but just about politics. You got to keep it respectful. There's various rules you have to agree to. And I think that would be more beneficial because the way social media is, things get lost in the news feed. Sometimes you go on there to try to find out something about an event going on. I get that. Maybe a loved one passed or whatnot. But I think we need to become more focused and less distracted because essentially we're going to get distracted off of all the content that we see sometimes. And so, again, I'm new to it. Also, I just created an account with govtodo.com, and I'm curious to see how it, if it does take off, curious to see how well it does and how well it does as far as bringing the community together. And we can actually have respectful conversations without dirty politics that we're seeing right now on Facebook and things like that. That way we can actually make progress. Because, again, you're not going to make progress with bickering and name calling and all that. Yeah. And I don't know. I'm giving it a shot. I don't know much about it or him particularly, but it seemed like a great idea. And
My mom wanted me to ask you a question.
oh yeah, sure.
Okay, because they live in Ward 4.
Mm-hmm.
What does success in Ward 4 and the and Panama City as a whole look like?
In 2 words, uniformed prosperity. In 2 words. I mean, now to briefly explain that, it just means that everybody has an opportunity to succeed. Everyone has safe water to drink from. Everyone has safe roads to drive on, well lit, safe sidewalks to walk. If you don't have a car or choose not to drive or choose to bicycle throughout the community, it means everybody has a park within their ward that they can go to. It just means everyone has the opportunity to live the American dream, which unfortunately has become a nightmare over the past few years or decades. And we need to get back to that. You know, if something's not broke, don't fix it. You can explore new ideas and whatnot, but don't go destroying something that was, you know, fairly good, you know. And I believe in the American dream. I'm a byproduct of America. Yeah. And in 2 words, it just looks like uniform prosperity.
You know, with her texting me that, I know I was trying to cut it, but it was just one. Yeah, I like to talk. So just bear with me.
No, you're good, man.
So I had a first sergeant when I was in the Army, and I remember there was this bad altercation that was going on between 2 NCOs, and both were pointing fingers back at each other, and they were sitting there like trying to just be. I mean, they were being boys, right? And the first sergeant, he came out of his office and he kind of like broke up this argument that they were having. And he said, I want you to give me 5 negative things about him. I want you to give me 5 positive things about him. Because if you can't give 5 negative, or you can't give 5 positives with 5 negatives, you don't even know that person. So my question to you is for the city of Panama City, what are 5 good things that they're doing currently, and then 5 bad things? So 5 negatives, 5 positives.
That's a tricky one. I guess it's easy to start with the negatives because
it's easy to point out what's wrong. But
that's actually a survival instinct. Is when you address negative things, you're like more likely to live. You know, versus, you know, you just always focus on the things that make you warm and fuzzy. You could be forgetting about the sanitation or the tiger that's lurking in the bush. That's why I'm not sure if you're aware, but you're in the military, so I'm sure you are. But I think the shade of the human eye can discern the most shades of green. I wonder why. Well, maybe through evolution, we've been able to discern like slight little camo differences from potential predators and whatnot. So I'll start with the negatives because it's the obvious. I want to see the city manage the funds more appropriately, adhere to a budget. I want to see the city represent all people in all wards of incorporated Panama City more equally and just more genuinely. I definitely want to see. I'll go ahead and give you a 2 for 1. I want to see more transparency and community engagement. I mean, based off the things we talked about, based off of what people have explained to me, their frustration, there's just no transparency. And then community engagement is next to none. We see attempts like this, of course, during election cycles, but, you know, keep that same energy for your entire tenure. And so that's 3 because that was a 2 for 1.
2 for 1, baby.
And let's see, a 4th thing that, a 4th negative, I would say, improve our infrastructure. We need to update it. And that's, a lot of times people hear me say infrastructure. I'm not just talking about water and sewer. I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about telecommunication network. There's no way.
Walking past. No, I'm joking. I'm messing with you. I'm sorry.
But just you know, looking at some of the networks, I mean, our network, I feel like.
Go to fiber.
When we're getting fiber, like everywhere, you know, we're everywhere I've lived, as far as Sweet Bay and St. Andrews, has always been coaxial cable. And it's just like, we're in 2025, but okay, like, it's kind of surprising. So definitely improvement with all infrastructure, water, sewer, fire hydrants, telecommunications, which is data, internet. And then the fifth, let's see. Ooh, that's a tricky one. The youth. Care
You
about
getting more involved, or
get more involved. Show the youth that you care, because that part, man, the youth, I feel like it's so neglected here. And I think Florida State University and Gulf Coast are doing an amazing job trying to offer initiatives and all that. I think we need to, as far as like K through 12, we need to actually show our kids that we care. We need to, I think, create initiatives. I was speaking with my 16-year-old last semester before the new year, and his friend, who's in ROTC, he was going on a trip. I believe, I can't remember exactly where, but somewhere. I think maybe ROTC related. And I asked, I had picked him up from basketball or something that day. I asked, O'Brien, when? Say his name on here, but O'Brien, when's the? Have you gone on a field trip since we moved to Florida? He talks like Shaq. He's not as quite as tall as me. So he's like, I don't know. I thought it was cool. Yeah, you thought it was cool, but I'm like English. Like, and so he's like, in short, he's like, no, we haven't. I was like, so y'all haven't been on a field trip like since you've been at Bay High School? He's like, oh. I said, that's crazy. I'm like, have y'all been to college day, career days? No. Y'all don't care about the youth. I mean, there's no other way to say it. I mean, we look at, for example, a constant complaint that numerous individuals are bringing up in Ward 2. I mean, where's the nearest walking park for those individuals? And are those parks even sufficient to even use? Are they even safe to use? Are they well lit? Or is the grass kept? Is there a water moccasin there? And so we need to show the youth that we care. And that's not just kids. That's also young emerging professionals. I'm 32 years old. And again, as a rideshare driver on the side, it's almost like I throw on my cape at nighttime. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that PCB money is amazing, by the way, during the month of March and April. It's amazing. Full disclosure.
I'm making like $2,000 a night, bro. No, I'm just kidding.
That would be
back when Uber first. Sorry, go. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Man,
that would be amazing.
I used to make $1,500 a month or $1,500 a week on Uber when it first came here.
Really?
Yes, not even joking.
Yeah. Again,
but they had a bunch of incentives and stuff like that.
Yeah. Different programs.
Anyway, sorry. Go. I'll cut that out.
No worries. But as far as some of the younger kids and as far as like high school, recent grads and college students, whatnot, that I drive around, it's, there's just nothing anchoring them here. Yeah. And I feel like it's unfortunate because one of the things that I tell people all the time, like, why'd you move from Atlanta? Like, isn't that like, the hot Atlanta, like the ATL, the dirty South? I'm like, it's not the same. The 90s and early 2000s was golden peak Atlanta. Since 2010, it's been on a slow decline, like most major U.S. cities. Yeah. I said most people are tired of that. It's okay for young emerging professionals up there because of the economy. You have Georgia Tech, different venues, not World Trade Center, the CDC, Emory, like all these different opportunities, juice. And I just feel like there's things that draw young people there, and there's nothing to draw young people here. I can see, because of my education in architecture and urban planning, and then also my passion for people and geography, I can see the potential of Panama City. It doesn't need to be a 38. It doesn't need to be a Destin or Tallahassee or an Atlanta. It needs to stay Panama City, but it needs to have something that can put it to that next level. I'm not talking about becoming the Tokyo, New York. I'm talking about remaining, in my opinion, a mid-sized city, but improving the quality of life for all the residents here and providing opportunities, whether that be recreational, economic, educational. We need to provide these opportunities for the youth and encourage them to stay, because this place is a gold mine. It really is. So,
all right, that's negatives.
Those are negatives. So good things, man. I'm gonna have to go out, pull out the.
What? You can't think about anything good, bro?
No, I'm just playing.
Where'd you eat? Where do you eat with your family? Like, what's your favorite restaurant you like to go frequent with your family?
Favorite restaurant, see, I'm probably gonna get shunned at for saying it because it's in PCB. My wife and I.
If you name something other than a local restaurant, get out. I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding with you.
No. It's all local restaurants. I don't care for chains. Like chains are great and all. And see that's a different. That's
I'm
another
just
thing.
kidding with you, man.
It's the type of restaurant. For example,
Yeah.
like if I'm talking about like a nice date out with just my wife, Firefly, off of Richard Jackson Boulevard, hands down, Firefly.
All right, well, let's bring it into Panama City.
Into Panama City.
Where's your
That's what I'm
favorite?
saying.
Where's your favorite place to eat in Panama City?
I'm about to go there here in a few minutes.
At Alice's.
Alice's. The prices are more than reasonable. The quality and the service is amazing. It's right there.
The view's nice, right there.
The
at
view's
marina.
nice. Walkability.
So that's a positive.
Yeah.
We got a good view.
Yeah.
All right. Now it's a spiral effect, bro. You're gonna keep coming up with them now, dude.
Well, when we say negatives and positives about the city, we're not talking about just the city staff and officials. We're talking about as a whole.
I'm
correct?
talking about as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah. What are some?
That's easy.
what are
Then.
the
There's a
positives?
reason. There's a reason why I moved to from Atlanta. There's
I would like to know
amazing
five.
things.
I would like to know 5 positives that you think that the city is doing. But if you can't figure that out,
That's
give me
harder.
5
That's a lot
positives.
harder, but-
Really, you don't think so? Do you think so? I'm sure you've met the staff and stuff up there. No,
They don't really make themselves that available, and I'm just gonna say it for what it is.
okay.
It's and some of them may not receive that the best way, but it's just the truth. I've been around several of them numerous times, and they just every time I get in like a large conference like the economic review meeting or the Gulf Coast, and if you're across the room, as soon as I get next to you, and do that 2 or 3 times, it's kind of obvious. Like,
Yeah.
and if I have the opportunity to directly have a conversation with you at a lift station number 16 meeting, this individual will probably know exactly who I'm referring to. And I introduce like, hey, and then you say hi, and then you beeline it to the door. Again, I don't want to call you out, which is why I'm not calling you out by name. But again,
Personality traits don't align.
exactly. Well, one, engage with the community, especially
Yeah.
if it's a candidate, so you can at least gauge their opinions and perspectives of things, and just have a conversation. But yeah, I mean, but as far as the positives, since it's more of a broad sense,
So you don't think that what they're doing downtown is good?
I think what they're doing in downtown is, and see, that's a qualitative data. That's not quantitative. That's good is subjective.
Well, I guess I mean,
the
like,
good part of what they're doing down there is revitalizing it.
Yeah.
The bad things, why'd you make the road so narrow? Well, to reduce the speed. You could have introduced rumbling strips. Rumbling strips are 10 to 70 cents a foot. You could have introduced rumbling strips. That way, when they approach a stop sign, they go, You could have introduced rumbling strips for 10 to 70 cents a foot. You could have introduced, a very passive speed hump or something. That's a little bit more pricey. Those can go upwards of a few hundred to about $1,700 or so.
Yeah.
But, not something that's abrasive to your car's wear and tear, but something that's, just reminds you, hey, you're in a walkable
If you
district.
can't find anything positive that the city of Panama City is doing, then just give me 5 positives
in general,
in the city.
Well, what I love is that Panama City, at least from what I remember as a kid, because my dad and mom had made sure that we were well traveled and explored as much as the U.S. as possible. What I love is that it's still salty. It's still Panama City. I love that it has a lot of different types of waters and bays. The people are friendly. Oh my goodness, the people down here. They are some of the friendliest people I've ever met, and a lot of people are like, "You're moving to Florida, man. They're racist." And, wow. BS. Again, people hated that I referenced Atlanta. It's what I know. Atlanta, it's so city oriented and highly densely populated, and we know what happens in those environments. You don't even know your neighbor's name. You don't say hi to a random stranger. You could be at the grocery outlet and just talking with someone for 27 minutes, even though you were just trying to unload your buggy into your car. The sense of hospitality down here and community and love and appreciation, especially after travesties like Hurricane Michael, that was the one thing that blew my mind.
Were you here?
I was not, but doing the Storm Segura Underground project, SSUP project with FPL, and when I first came down on the 3-month contract, the stories I heard, there was this one lady, for example, they had a average size home in the Callaway Park area, and it was during the hurricane. They didn't evacuate. It's her and her daughter, and they know that every now and then you'll hear like a knock at the door, and sometimes it's someone seeking refuge in your home, and it's a hurricane, it's Michael, and so they would let them in. But apparently, after they've done that for a few people, they realize the daughter kind of caught the pattern. The daughter's a little bit younger. I'm assuming adolescent age, and the daughter kept hearing something knock at the door, thinking it's someone seeking refuge. The mom's like, well, I don't know, that's kind of not. And before she could say it's kind of not like the knock of a person, she was going to say that could be a branch or debris. And as soon as the daughter had turned it just enough to unlock, it had yanked her arm and dislocated her elbow. That's how strong the winds were. And so when I hear stories like that, or an older couple that we were getting a junction box agreement signed by, and they didn't think they were going to make it through the night. They didn't evacuate. They didn't think they were going to make it through. They laid down next to each other in their bed, and they said they loved each other, and then they just went to sleep, and they didn't think they would wake up. And so when I see things like that, and when I see how people can really come together, and just the nature of the residents of Panama City and Bay County, and the culture and the hospitality, it's how can you not love it here? It's what I feel like as a country used to be, and we're slowly forgetting that. We have to retain that, that human aspect of it. So, I don't know if that's 2 or 3. I lost track as far as good things, but I love that down here. I love that down here. I'll say that was 3. I don't know. Yeah. Food. Since you brought it up, food, amazing.
300 pounds, 6 foot.
6'3", 300 pounds. I was 6'2.5", about 6'2", 225 coming out of high school. So clearly I've smacked down a few donuts and pizzas.
What do you bench?
Was that? Oh man, I haven't hit the weight room in forever.
Well, when you did.
Well, when I was in high school, I weighed 225, and I only benched like 265. I think that's the highest I ever went up. So it's not like anything crazy.
I was waiting for you to be like, nah, dabble a little
no,
bit.
No. My brother, he's strong guy. He's always been fit.
Does he live in Atlanta?
Yeah, he does. He's actually the last of all 3 of us. I'm the youngest of 3 siblings. My sister, she's a teacher out in Tuscaloosa. And then my brother, he's still up in, he's actually enlisted. He's in the Air Force.
Oh, is he really?
He is.
What's he do?
He's I should know this by now.
Pogue.
Huh?
Huh?
No, I should know.
Pogue is a derogatory term that is used between non-pogues and pogues. And it's a person other than grunt. It just means that they got a soft job.
Oh, okay. Well, from what
That's why he laughed.
Oh, okay.
He's a Marine, and he's a king pogue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so I know he does security at Dobbins, but he had I think he's had 1 or 2 orders overseas before, which was
good, man.
Yeah, the stories I hear from that, hats off to him. I thank him for his service all the time. But yeah, as far as strength, he's a fairly short guy, and everyone always says they think I'm the older brother, even though he's 6 years older than me, and I just laugh and shake it off and like, nah, that's my big bro. I don't care if he's shorter than me by a foot or not. It's my big bro. He's always been faster than me. He's always been stronger than me. Even to this day, he's still stronger than me. So, but yeah, as far as the other thing, the food down here is. Oh, sorry. My alarm clock was going.
Alarm's going.
Yeah. I forgot I had set that earlier.
No, you're good, man.
The food down here, amazing, and it's so good, especially on our side of the bridge. I'm not going to disrespect PCB because I do love Firefly, I really do. But on the city side of the bridge, I just love all that. I mean, it could be anything. Hey, you want to hear me slam Atlanta place? Zaxby's. And I know this. I don't know if you have to clip this or not. I do not like Zaxby's. I do not. And so when I came down
I don't
here,
have to cut that.
Okay.
I don't like Zaxby's.
Yeah. Okay. When I came down here and I discovered Slim Chickens, my goodness, I cannot tell you how many times my family ate at Slim Chickens. As far as chain restaurants.
Yeah.
Now, as far as like going to, of course, Uncle Ernie's, Alice's, of course. I actually, despite living in St. Andrews, I actually have not had the opportunity to dine at Captain's Table or Hunt's. So I'm actually really excited to meet the owners and co-owners of those establishments and try their food because I hear nothing but positive reviews. Not to bring them up, but my former immediate supervisor, he actually said Captain's Tables was one of his favorite places.
That dude.
I saw that coming. That's what I was like.
Man, I'll talk good about that dude.
Well, no, there's nothing good about him. It's just his.
What's he look like? I'm just- I like Captain Anderson's.
Yeah.
I might go find him.
No, Captain's Table.
Captain's Table.
Yeah, on Beck.
Yeah,
So-
Captain's Table's good.
Yeah, he said it was his. If I recall correctly, he said it was his favorite spot for fish. I heard Hunt's, of course, has probably the best oysters. I hear
Watch it turn out like his ex supervisor was like somebody that I go to church.
Yeah, I know, right?
They're gonna be like, I'm in Sunday school class with you, Ron.
But
Like, oh, guess what? You get
I haven't been there, but everyone, like you mentioned it again, and at this point, I just got to try. Everyone keeps talking about Mosley's Pizza, so I've seen the pictures on Google Photo or Google Maps, the reviews or whatever.
Slice House. You've been to Slice
Cheese.
House. That's in your ward.
I have not, actually.
Dude, that's in your ward. That's right there.
I've actually driven. Yeah, is it?
Dude, we're doing it.
I actually.
We're doing it. We're doing
Slice
it.
House?
We're doing Slice House.
Oh man, let me know when.
We're doing it. We're doing it before the election.
Oh, sounds good.
We're doing
man.
it. We're gonna go have a slice of pizza at Slice House.
Yeah, I actually get an Uber and Lyft. I actually drove, I think, several employees of there. Maybe the manager also. But
Actually, you know what? No, we're not. We're going to Mosey's.
Mosey's, okay.
We're going to Mosey's.
Either, yeah, with the beer and all that too. Yeah.
I got to thinking about it. We'll go to Mosey's.
So I mean,
I just remembered why I don't go there anymore. Yeah, we're going to Mosey's.
okay.
Dude.
Dude.
Yeah, I can just see it. He's like, dude,
Yeah.
what up? Like,
Like I already complained to you, Phil.
yeah, I complained to you a couple times, man. You didn't shape up. I mean, I'm just, hey, people like that place. They're great. He's always gonna make money. He's gonna do good. He's always gonna be successful. He's just not gonna do it with my money. So there you go.
Yeah.
But anyway, you should try it though because that's in your ward and it's
Yeah.
good pizza.
Yeah. Another thing, I guess the fourth, maybe a good thing I like about the city is the walking districts. The walking districts, they're just so relaxing. Even if you have no intention on purchasing anything, hell, even if you have no intention on window shopping, just being able to just go somewhere and walk and feel safe.
Are you talking about like downtown?
Downtown PC, St. Andrews also. I can't say that for Sweet Bay, obviously, because they're still developing, even though that is also more big box stores and more heavy commercial. I love downtown St. Andrews and I love downtown PC. And just, I've been blessed. Luckily, I'm renting not too far from
So
there.
I bet you can agree that the city has done a good job with law enforcement.
Ooh,
They're everywhere.
that's thanks for bringing that up. That's
Yeah.
my fifth part. So I love the blue. I back the blue. I think the defund the police movement is I forget I'm on a podcast and gotta keep it civil. That whole movement, I understand, different atrocities and different crimes against humanity regarding that. But at the end of the day, when you get shot or stabbed or robbed or someone does something, who are you calling? You're calling law enforcement. And these men and women are putting their lives at risk every single day for us, just like the military, every single day. And no one's going to be perfect. Some people aren't fit for the job. That's just what it is. Some people aren't fit for the job. But at the end of the day, I respect the blue. I back the blue. And man, when I came down here, I'm like, man, there's
Cops
patrols
everywhere.
Bay County Sheriff and PC.
I mean, dude,
bro.
I said it.
And I love it. When I see those, I'm not sure, you probably know better than me. I want to say F-22 Falcons.
F-35s.
35s. When I see those F-35s fly overhead, people are like, some people, individuals will complain. I'm like, what? Complain? That's the sound
of freedom.
That's the sound of freedom. That's the sound of freedom.
Yeah.
When I see patrol vehicles I don't get nervous. And I understand, depending on where you're born and raised in the country, I completely understand that. I'm not ignorant to that.
Yeah.
But I don't get nervous because I know I'm not doing anything. And if you're not, then you have nothing to worry about. I love seeing patrol vehicles because I know that if something happens, especially when I'm ride sharing, I know I'm good.
It was one of the things that I think the city's done really good at because for the longest time, downtown Panama City, I think Robbie Hughes said it when he came on, you could shoot a gun downtown Harrison and nobody, Yeah, you could shoot a rifle down Harrison Avenue and nobody would even know because there's just nobody that was ever down there. And it was really rough. Downtown used to be really rough, man. And now, like, I mean, I take my daughter and we'll go and eat, and then we'll go window shopping. We'll go to places like Bookish Boutique and through there. And when I do that, I see 5 or 6 patrol cars throughout the entire day, and I know that, like, I mean, I know that we're protected, you know, because it's like I don't have to worry about any crime down there.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's just a good feeling. And again, as long as you're living a law-abiding life, then you have nothing to be worried about. And that's why,
you know, like my daughter's protected. I have to like make sure they don't see my face and kind of turn away a little bit.
Yeah. You're the podcaster, right? Like,
no, that's not why.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure I got a couple warrants or something. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I'm
man.
kidding. But
yeah, I love our first responders. They do an amazing job. Just to give you a story, another Uber Lyft story. Last year, I was actually a Rideshare, and I picked up this one individual on PCB side. And when I called, I had to call 911 because I wasn't sure if she was just completely wasted as far as inebriated, or else if she had used some type of narcotic. And when I called 911, they were there. I had a fire truck, an EMT, and an officer there within 45, 55 seconds. In some cities, it could be 30, 40 minutes and over and out. I had them within at least 55 seconds in that residential neighborhood. So hats off to y'all, because y'all don't play down here. And I love it. I love it. I love it. So
Demetrius Rease for Ward 1. Please vote for him. Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
No. We'll redo this. I'll cancel that out. So we got Demetrius Rease for Ward 4.
That's correct.
And voting is
April 22nd. Early voting is April 14th through the 18th.
All right, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.